Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 225 of Defining Duke at Xbox podcast. It's a very special one indeed. We got royalty in the building, literally and figuratively, although the king is dead in one of those cases. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's introduce the royalty that's alive right now. Ebontis joining us, our special guest co-host alongside my lovely other co-host, Lord Cognito. It's a co-host off here in the realm of the Dukes. So, Ebontis, sir, how are you doing today? Welcome.
I am excellent. I am overjoyed at the news that you and I both got this morning with some reviews coming out for what we'll talk about a bit later. So, yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night thanks to a storm. Dogs needed out. And then I was like, oh, embargo's up. Let me look. And I just went back I couldn't go back to bed. So I've been up since like 5 o'clock in the morning between storms and dogs and then just not being able to go. So did that. Finally, I think passed out for a little bit. But overall, I've just been playing back-to-back bangers. We'll talk about kind of that and what we've been playing. But having a good time. And honestly, I don't know how anybody has time to play a quarter of what you might want to right now. It's a little nuts with everything that's going on. Yeah. We'll get to health as well. My wife and I just worked out yesterday. So it's like nice. We've been trying to stick with everything. So just kind of having a good time, but also trying to keep my head above water because, man, it's a lot to try and do. Mm-hmm. And we're all kind of, swimming on our own little islands sometimes. So when you're like a solo show, it feels like occasionally you're like, I need a little surrender flag. Sometimes sometimes you're like too much, but it's a good problem to have. But yeah, I've been having a pretty good time lately.
Awesome. Well, Ebontis, it's great to have you here. And as always, it's lovely to have my co-host, Lord Cognito, joining us. How are you doing today? Good, sir. How are you surviving this week? E and I are lucky enough to have at least cleared out a little bit of the peak ahead of time, but you, my friend, are drowning in it. So how are we feeling?
Bro, I am literally drowning. First of all, how dope is this for me? I got two of my co-hosts. It's a good, literally two of my co-hosts together on a pod. This is super dope. The last word and Defining Duke collide, which is awesome. So I want to get that out. This is awesome to be a part of that. So number one, but yeah, I'm hurting. There are a lot, man. I just did, spoiler cast with Brad and Locke and Mama Micah. We did the KCD2. Spoiler cast. So that was
how long was that? Because that game is tiny.
Bro, Steam told me I had 287 hours. I refuse to believe that.
You probably left it on. You had to.
Yeah, there's no way. So I refuse to believe that. So I'm gonna say in the 100-hour plus. There's no way. So I think it's definitely me leaving it on. Plus, remember, I'm playing it primarily on the Ally, and I'm docking it to the OLED in the living room. So I'm figuring it's counting.
I
bet
it's like a suspend. Yeah,
it's got to be suspend. It make that. I'm like, there's no way. But did that. Obviously, we'll talk about all the other stuff I'm playing. And all that stuff that got announced for this week and released this week. But this was a very bad health is wealth week. So after this, I'm going to the gym.
Nice.
Because I have to get in there. It is not good, man. But other than that, just try to survive, man. So many dope games and stuff coming up. And I got to talk to my bros right now. We got stuff to talk about.
We do. And you know what? I think it might be an off week for Health is Wealth from our audience. It was normally it's like raining Health is Wealth write-ins, but this week, pretty slim pickings for your boy here. We got two, and then we can share our own stories. So let's catch up with the audience a little bit. Everyone who's listening, if you want to write in, patreon.com/laststandmedia. You can join us over there. Early ad-free access to our show. Be part of the fun. And tell us about your health journey. Tell us about your gaming journey. Whatever journey you want to share with us. We're happy to hear from you. Just like Choco Matt 12. Hey, that's my name and my favorite number. How about that? Hey, Mr. Maddie, in the backyard wander himself, Lord Cog. Health is Wealth post here. I love listening to the Health is Wealth part of the podcast every week and feel I should chime in. The last few years, I've struggled mentally with a lot of different aspects of life and found myself on antidepressants. Over time, I did not look after myself, and my weight increased quickly over time. I managed to get a hold of it towards the end of last summer and lost 30 pounds. Unfortunately, though, from November last year until now, I have managed to gain back the 30 pounds due to the lack of exercise and poor diet. For me, I think that diet is absolutely killing me. I am now back running with apps, Runna and Strava. So my question to you fine gentlemen is, where do you find the motivation? And is there a go-to lunch that you stick with that keeps you consistent? Thanks for the great content every week. Cheers. Yeah, let's talk some diet, gentlemen.
Yeah,
How are we feeling about diet? I mean, for me, I have gone through a little bit of an overhaul for the diet. And honestly, I feel really great. Like, I have been in a pocket where these last 2 weeks, I have felt the best I've felt in a while. It helps that I've been getting consistent exercise, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But diet-wise, like I said, I was trying to just lower the cholesterol a little bit. It was kind of getting up there. I was like, let me do some tweaks. So I looked into some foods that I was like, what are good for reducing cholesterol or not going to impact it as much? And basically, I've put myself on a whole foods diet. Like, that's kind of what's happened here. And I just feel fucking like cash money, bro. Like, I'm like, this is what my body's needed, I think. To kind of at least reset, cleanse a little bit. I'm not usually big on many people listening know, like, I flip-flop my diet a bunch of times in the past, but so I've tried to be more calculated about when I make a change, like why I'm committing to it and how long I want to commit to it for. But this has just felt great. So I just like, one thing I could recommend is, that's been a great go-to lunch for me is a chickpea. It's a garbanzo bean salad recipe. And so it's like all just like chickpeas, cut up tomatoes, cucumbers, red onions, little vinaigrette in there, little lime juice, little pepper in there. I feel like I'm missing some. Oh, black olives. Look, man, I know it just sounds like the most pretentious ass green Whole Foods
it's
meal.
All over the place, but we let you out there.
But it's really good.
You just walked out of like a Fifth Avenue salad joint with
your
Prada bag.
Yes, I like vegetables and fruits. Thank you.
Very privileged bag.
No, but it's cheap too. It's cheap to make.
Really?
And I throw it together.
Protein, usually.
Yeah, and you get to mix it all in a big bowl, and then you have it for a couple of days. You store it in the fridge. And so I was just pulling out for lunch like every day. It was fresh, tasted really good, healthy, obviously, low calorie option, filling though, because the chickpea is a good source of protein. So look into that. That would be my suggestion. Lunch is like my toughest meal. So I like to just meal prep when I can. I've been experimenting a lot. Some of the food's been mid. Like I made like a barley, mushroom, and potato recipe with vegetable
broth. A whole lot of
brown. Yeah, and boy, did it taste that way. Yeah, it was very, very flat.
Yeah.
Definitely like the Xbox 360 visuals of food, Just very brown, very plain, not a lot of texture, not a lot of quality.
Yo, you stupid. That Oblivion slap on the floor.
Yeah. But that's what I've been going to, man. I've been on this Whole Foods diet, and it's been doing me really well. I've been feeling good, getting consistent exercise. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But gentlemen, what should Choco Matt 12 be eating to get himself right for lunch? Where does he find the motivation? E, I want to hear from you. I know Cog, you're usually my go-to for the health is wealth, but E, you're the guest. I want to know
chef.
Health is wealth.
I like to cook.
Beast
yeah.
here.
So
all right.
I actually like to cook.
I should have been to you first. My bad. Yeah.
No.
Go ahead.
I will bow down to the salad
a chef
man,
is here, dude. Then that garbanzo bean salad.
No. Okay. Don't let Cog do all this water.
I've been in that man house. Him and the wifey, they throw down. I'm telling you, Matt, he don't sleep. He's very humble right now.
Cook. I'm not going to argue. We're decent at what we make, but it's the biggest thing for. Our worst is dinner. So that's where our meals fall apart. Lunch usually is not bad because if I'm working and she's working, usually it's simple things. The biggest thing that helps us is cooking in some kind of, same way you said it, is like a leftover batch where you have a couple options to pull from. So if my wife does like, half a sheet tray of Brussels sprouts and roasted broccoli, even just something simple, literally salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of paprika, maybe a little oregano on there on broccoli, and then cook it in just like convection oven if you've got one as a vegetable that's got a nice seasoning to it. But I mean, you could eat like a bag of broccoli and get like 40 calories from it. So you'll go full far before you ever get calories. And then the other side is just to make sure you get a good solid protein. I mean, you can take chicken and go so many ways with it. So if you are going to go that way, I've done things where it's like, hey, there's a pork shoulder and like so my wife subscribes to Hungaroo, not an advertisement, just does. But it works because I have a tree nut allergy, and it's one of the few that you actually get to like pick that as a thing to avoid, which has been nice. So we got some like pulled pork from them, just like simple pulled pork, and then just some like light seasoning. And the biggest thing is when you cook it in a pan, doesn't take long because it's pretty much already pre-packed anyway. But it's like 10 minutes, and it's the whole idea of getting the caramelization on it. So just a little bit of barbecue sauce, not much, a little bit of like a pork rub or something, and then just cook it long enough and high enough heat with a little bit of oil in the pan for a good sear. And that actually really will bring it out. So you can do like protein and broccoli, and that's kind of one of those things. And then when it comes to carbs, just watch where you get your carbs from. Having a potato, a real potato, whether it's a roasted potato, baked potatoes, not the end of the world. Rice, you can do that 100 different ways. As you said, you've got chickpeas and many other things. My wife is actually very health conscious too, so she's a good influence on me. All of those things, but we'll make them in batches. So then it's like, hey, I want chicken and broccoli and rice. Or my wife will do pork and, you know, roasted potatoes, and have a couple options so it's easy to get to. And that's kind of the biggest thing for us. I mean, I'm not going to go cook like Chilean sea bass and hibachi fried rice at home for lunch. I've done that for a special meal occasionally, but
whoa, damn, not a chef, by the way.
No, okay. So like the one meal that I would say I was probably proud of, it's a miso glazed Chilean sea bass. And it's really easy. It's like 8 minutes under the broiler, and it is immaculately just so decadent. I love Chilean sea bass. It's probably not the most like sustainable, I think.
That man said Chilean sea bass. That man said there's a different energy.
I'm listening to the vocab,
you
right?
See the vocab? You see how he waxing?
Yeah, that's chef talk.
Yeah,
that's chef.
It is a very simple marinade. It is miso, sake, a little bit of like white wine, or like rice wine, mirin, so it's got a bit of a sweeter flavor, and then just broil it. But the way it's so rich, it's one of my favorite dishes because of that. Hibachi fried rice, not healthy. Don't do that at home. It is tasty, but yeah, but that's kind of the biggest thing for us is if we have food that is quick to make, whether it's in a batch or like you've taken the broccoli and I've already like got it home from the store, cut it all up into florets, doesn't take much effort to put it in. That type of stuff is where we find success. It's when we're like, what do we want to eat? Then when the questions start coming, that's where we fall off the train. That's usually what I would say. But yeah, it's like having a balance of like a mix and match couple of options helps.
No, likewise. Yeah. I mean, not as extravagant as the man over here.
I like cooking. I'm also a picky eater. That would be a different podcast.
We don't derail. We'll turn this into the last word. We got to focus. But he said some really strong points, and I think for me, first part with talking about with the motivation. Lately, for me, I've been in this weird pocket. Y'all all know me for the video game music, right? So lately, my new motivation is like the new game comes out. The soundtrack to the game comes out. I'm actually getting ready to go to the gym to listen to the soundtrack. Like that's
you're jogging to a little Oblivion combat music. Is that what's happening?
Bro, I hit that startup.
Yeah.
Bro, and then I especially if it's something that like a Oblivion or something that a seed that really hits you. Obviously, you guys are gonna have a lot to say about Expedition. So it's just like you gotta know when you beat a game and that moment, and you remember the tune or whatever was a song that was playing at that moment, whether it be a hard boss fight or whatever, that lately has been my motivation within the last couple of months, where it's just like, yo, I can't wait to work out because it really gets me the goosebumps, you know what I'm saying? Or motion comes out. So that's the first thing. As far as the food, I'm boring. So literally the new thing now is obviously the air fryer, brown rice, grilled chicken, with my options of broccoli or sweet potato. And I'm basic, but that's my go-to.
You got to keep it basic. I think that's the way you keep it consistent, right? Like you get too crazy with it and then you start veering off the path. I that's why I brought my shit down to like just bare minimums. I'm like, can I just do this with like chicken and some fruits and vegetables alone and just get to where I need to go.
To where I go. And then for me specifically as a person with diverticulitis, that's my stomach settler. It's the most safest choice. Like brown rice, chicken. I can't deviate or mess up. And it's healthy for a person that kind of works out consistently.
Yeah. So for you specifically, I don't know if I feel like I'm surprised we haven't had this discussion anyway. For stomach sensitivity.
Yeah.
Do spices upset it, or is it just certain foods? Okay.
I was going to say is like
So key to avoid the boring is why I'm asking.
Yeah. So basically, I have to go bland. Like if I'm okay, I can throw spices and stuff in. If I'm in the middle of an attack, I actually have to go even worse, like soups and very, liquid kind of stuff, apple sauces and, that kind of thing. And then you build your stomach back up. Now, when you're unsure, you're in that middle period, that's where the chicken and rice stuff, you're golden. You know what I'm saying? And what you do is you try to avoid throwing in too many red meats during that period. Yep. Now, once you've had a consistent period of no stomach attacks for a while and you're fine, just, you can throw stuff in on occasion. Just don't overdo it is the main thing. And I'll know when I mess up and I'm like, damn, I had like 2 days of this particular thing, or I had a burger or so, you know what I'm saying? Like certain things after a while, it'll add up and you did it to yourself. So that's how you learn with your stomach. So your stomach will remind you.
So do you like salmon?
Oh yeah. Fish is perfect. Salmon. No problem.
So
I love salmon.
One of, our go-tos is, and again, this is where you can just basically decide. This is one you can do at home. Like, do you have access to go buy like some salmon fillet, something like that?
Yeah.
Put it in pieces. You got the air fryer, so you already got that covered. All you got to do, and I can even send you the recipe, but it's soy sauce, garlic,
okay,
maple syrup.
Oh, I'm already liking this.
And then your option is some or no, potentially sriracha, depending on how you're feeling. So it has the little sweet and spiciness to it.
That's, me. See, me with the sweet.
Yeah. I can do teriyaki all day, but I try to mix it up.
That's dope.
But those four together, the sriracha gives it that balance. Garlic will give it a little more of the savory, and then you got the sweet balance in there. And the soy sauce is just pure salt. So again, if you do low sodium, whatever you want to do, but those four kind of in what a ratio works. Okay. That is one of the easiest things in an air fryer. Throw it in there 10 minutes. It's good.
Sounds good.
That's one of mine. That one's one of mine that we'll do for dinner. And it's always just like every time. Nice. So good.
Beautiful. Would love that.
Sorry, food podcast. I'll stop.
Sorry. No, I mean, that's what this is. Literally the first 30 minutes are always food, exercise.
Everybody's like, who is this guy? Random guy comes on talking about all the food. We want games, damn it.
Don't worry. They already got Cog and I for that. We had to adjust the structure a little bit. Like, here's your health is wealth segment. And for the big backs afterwards, they get to, pick us up later in the show. And just be like, hey,
don't get Cog and I talking about our lifts and curls this week and everything.
Same thing will be about it.
It's been a while. It's been a while, but I got 90 on the easy bar curl again.
Okay.
So
let's go. That's what we'll talk about.
Nicely done. So hopefully this helps you, Choco Matt. Stay motivated. Stay eating. Let us know how you go. All right, this next one goes to Anonymous Lurker. Quite the transparent write-in. Wanted to just give the props because this is a vulnerable write-in.
Because he's anonymous.
Yeah, it's true. By the name, you are not transparent, but what you have written captured me. Very unique write-in. A story that I can relate to and wanted to share. He says, "Hey, Dukes, I got a health is wealth write-in today. I'm taking it from a different angle, and I apologize ahead of time for the long write-in. Years ago, I was addicted to drugs. It started from a car accident that I was prescribed oxytocin for, and despite having relatively minor injuries, I became addicted at 16, and by 18, I turned to heroin. I was a functioning addict. However, I didn't make much money. I did jobs for my dealer in exchange for a fix, and in 2017, I met a girl that I planned to rob. That changed quick, though. She had a great personality. She was super funny, kind, and passionate about crafts and some video games. I changed my mind, and she helped me stay clean. I walked away from the world of addiction. I didn't make a conscious choice to. She distracted me with kindness and compassion. Many nights of contemplating ending my own life ended with a smile because of her. She entered my life at the perfect time and kept me from driving further into my own grave. Now, 8 years later, we're getting married. We bought a house together. We have a life we built, not because of me, but because of her. For anyone out there who hears this message, don't give up seeking sobriety. If you're experiencing suicidal thoughts or have an addiction, call or text 988. Don't give up. Find your Courtney like I found mine. Thought that was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Really,
yeah, it's beautiful.
Very transparent. That's got to be tough to write.
Yeah.
Hell of a story for your wife, though, man. Like, hey, you know how when we first met, you know what I was thinking that time?
How's that come clean dinner conversation going? I'm like,
that's bro. That was the pull up for real. And to make that decision, I think it's really important. Also, I like what he said about was it the oxycodone and stuff like that. That's actually a serious thing in our communities. Because a lot of times it's, I don't want to say accidental addiction, but a lot of times, you go through for a major injury. I've had it before. Thank God that none of that stuff has any effect on me in that capacity.
Sure.
I took it for the pain. I'm done. And I remember when people subscribed, they was like, "Oh, they prescribed that for you." You're like, "Yo, be careful, bro." And I'm like, "Really?" Because I heard like this addictive nature of it in our communities is huge. So the fact that it kind of started with that, I actually empathize with him on that because I've heard that story. So, and then again, shout out to, finding a special partner, the person who you find value and say, you know what, this is a person that I want to live for. And actually, another big thing is not unalive ourselves because, and again, in our community, it's very huge. I've lost, many people this way. And we try to use games and things and communicate to make sure that everyone's doing okay and check because a lot of people suffer in silence. So dope story, man. Salute the anonymous lurker. That is awesome. Salute that.
Yeah, absolutely. True. Yeah, I was like, no, I mean, there's multiple TV shows over the opioid epidemic and all of that stuff is just, and then like the history behind it's pretty awful when you really, the more you dig, the worse it actually seems to get. But I mean, yeah, it's like, you never know where you're going to find somebody. The conversation when you hopefully came clean at some point with her had to be rough, but that moment where you got through that brought you two so close together, which is on another level. But I mean, yeah, I'm very lucky as well. Been married for 12 years going on now. And I always tell my wife, and it's going to sound cheesy as hell, but it's like a hug with her and the world melts away. And that's just one of those for me that has been like,
Summer's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, love my wife. Never, never feel like I couldn't be luckier. But it's.
I mean, look, she's married to Pete Alonso, the Mets first baseman. Man, you can't tell me, man. Now that I got y'all together, I've always wanted to say this. I know we do a heartfelt stuff, but
he said this to me recently, and I'm like,
hat on him.
Yeah, bro. All we gotta do is put a Mets fitted on him, number 20.
I can kind of see it.
That's the polar bear.
So I need to like lean the face up a little bit,
just a little bit. Yeah. Bro, she married Pete Alonso, man. You good? Y'all living a good life. Sorry.
Yeah, but no, like the other person, like having someone, and it doesn't have to truly be like the spouse person. It can be if you've got a best friend that's close enough. The right person will be there. I know some people don't have friends that they feel are close enough, but there's somebody in your life that's probably there if you reach out, who's willing to reach back. But if you do find that spouse and that special someone, yeah, I fully get the second half of that story because, I get that feeling. It's awesome.
It's real.
Yeah, same here. It's just you want to find that person in your life that pulls the best out of you. Like I remember like when I met Laylee, I thought I was doing okay, but I realized I wasn't. I was just like, this is like the perfect human. I was just,
this is awesome.
Pulls so much out of you, and you're just like, I can do better. I want to do better, that sort of thing. And so that's the best I think you can get in a partner who just kind of inspires you and motivates you, that sort of thing. So again, congrats to Anonymous Lurker on the sobriety. Thank you for sharing your story, and happy for you and all the strides you've made in these last 8 years. All right. Health is wealth is done. Welcome, big backs. Let's talk some video games. All right.
Big backs.
I say it as a
like
joke.
The Doritos, that we're
it's more like it's like a big guy joke. But I hope people know I'm ribbing for fun. I'm trying to get people know.
The best big guy joke is when Cognito and I went to GCX and Ty Guy Travis was out there with us. So, like, in Destiny, we joked it was like the two Cabals. They're the big, bulky guys and everything, if you remember Destiny at all. And then there's, like, the little Scion, who's also of the Cabal, who's, like, the little scout sniper on the side. So it was like the two Cabal legionaries walking with
this guy.
We're cut from slightly different cloth. I'll just say that.
Very much so.
We had a lot of write-ins from our audience, obviously, about Oblivion Remaster. Not only that, but the leak culture, Fallout 3's remaster. This is a full episode oriented around the Oblivion Remaster Expedition 33. So there's a lot of angles we can take this from. I kind of wanted to make sure we knocked down as many of the talking points as we had along. So when we got to the what we're playing section, which is basically the entirety of the show, just as a spoiler for those who are listening from front to back, like there is no news this week. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 items here. Got 4 items for you. That's it. But otherwise, it's just like talking about Oblivion, talking about Clair Obscur, talking about some other games. So I wanted to knock down talking points surrounding like the business of the game or whatever, so then we could really get into just the thick of like the game's right and wrongs. So first one was a very popular question, especially leading into the potential of a shadow drop. And now it has happened. Oblivion is out. Is Oblivion's impact on Expedition 33? We have a write in here from Rich. He says, Xbox and Microsoft screwing over Clair Obscur with the shadow drop of the Oblivion Remaster this week. How could this not hurt Clair Obscur? The odd part is Microsoft paid for the marketing for this and even debuted the game at their showcase. Why would they drop an RPG game the same week that is from a well-known franchise when a new game is coming out that will likely suffer from it? I have no doubt that Clair Obscur would have been pushed to May or June, but its publisher if they had known about Oblivion, as you do not want a new IP coming out at the same time as a well-known game in a similar genre. Many will pass this new game up now for the nostalgic remake and may never get back to it as new games are always on the horizon. Do you feel the Oblivion should have been dropped in June or July? Or is it possible Microsoft no longer believes in Clair Obscur? If Xbox execs have seen Expedition 33 recently and feel it will not perform well, by the way, this writing, as you can tell, obviously came in before the reviews hit.
Yes, of course.
This could explain the shadow drop. Either way, this does not bode well for the new IP's chance of success. While I will be playing Expedition 33 over Oblivion via PC Game Pass, how many others will do so? Will you, Maddie, or is the secret game you've been playing for the past week or more been Clair Obscur? And I hope to hear your thoughts. Thank you for writing in, Rich. I've seen this fear pop up a lot from a lot of people. I thought the publisher's reply was quite refreshing.
Oh,
they literally said it's like Barbenheimer.
Okay.
And, yeah, they put up this tweet here. I have it linked in our document.
I did see that, actually.
Yeah. And they changed the Painter's Tower to the Oblivion Gates.
Oblivion Gate. Nice.
Awesome. But yeah, they're embracing it. There's room for everybody. And I think the pressure was on Clair Obscur more after Oblivion Remaster to really be like a home run, as I'll just spoil, it absolutely is. But it being tied for top scorer reviews in the industry in 2025 and a very good year to be like technically the number one highest reviewed game of the year so far, I think it's fine. Like, I really do. Like, my hot take is I think truly what will happen is people will, especially Game Pass subscribers, will dabble with Oblivion and move on to Expedition 33. But I think a lot of people are going to spend their money on this game. I think it is literally everything everyone's been asking for in the hardcore gaming circle. And if it doesn't get supported, it just means a lot of people are all talk. Like, that's all it is. Because this is a $50 game, reasonably length. It's daring to do different things. But it's got incredible gameplay, presentation quality, acting. Like, it's got everything. It's got everything everyone's been bitching about in a time where, oh my God, $80 games. Here comes this $50 game that's offering you $70 value easily. And they're charging you $20 less. It's regional equivalent. So like wherever you are, it's gonna go down to that amount, maybe even way cheaper in some regions. Like, it's just a really fair video game from the business angle. And I think it'll speak to a lot of people, kind of like how, Space Marine 2 did. Like, it just clicked on a level where people are like, yeah, this is like, I want to support this. And I think there's room for both. I don't think these are as similar as people are making them out to be. And while it is a busy time, like, I think Expedition 33 is going to do well. I think the reviews are going to help it a lot, no doubt. But I think the real telltale is also like, how did the reviews perform? Like, I've reviewed games that I think are fantastic and I see the numbers. I'm like, I don't know. But the Expedition 33 numbers were good. And I think a lot of the early fears for the game, as in like when Oblivion was starting to percolate and it's like, oh shit, it might be the same week. I almost feel like the proactive nature of the community going in and be like, I'm worried, brought more attention to the game. Like, and now people are like, oh, this looks cool. Then the reviews hit. They're like, oh, I got to play this. So yeah, I think if you're a turn-based fan and an open world fan, like I am, I'm playing both. There's room for both. I think the game will be fine, but I'm curious, Cog, what are your thoughts on Oblivion's impact on Expedition 33? Has Xbox screwed this one over?
It's an interesting question. I'm seeing it going around the community a lot. I think for me, the way I look at it is, one, hindsight is 2020, and a lot of times gamers, we're in the prisoner of the moment. Because remember, prior to this, we're like, okay, we're hoping Expedition lands, right? Because this looks cool, right? But did we know 100% before you guys played it, like, it's going to be this 90 plus meta? Oh my God. Like, we were hoping for it. So you got that aspect. Then you got the other aspect from, the Oblivion side. Like, we were talking for months, Maddie, about, hey, hope they even do a decent job. Like, don't screw it up. Or, is it just going to be, a nice little coat of paint and that's it, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't know, hey, they're going to put this love and care. Then we're like, it's going to be a shadow drop. How are they going to do it? So I think what's happened is both games were trending up as they get close to release. And one game, we didn't even know when it was going to release. But This is what I have heard. What I have heard as far as in reference to the Oblivion side, because even me and you, Maddie, we talked about like, damn, why Shadow Drop, right? This could have been Showcase. This could have been, and I think that's a fair criticism for anyone who's concerned about, Expedition 33. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of this is just, we got to get this in for the financial quarter.
Yeah, that was our prediction.
Yeah. Hey, look at it. We got Indiana Jones on PlayStation. We got Forza on, you know what I'm saying? 5 coming to PlayStation. All of these sales. So now you come back to stakeholders and you say, look, Oblivion Remake, as we're going to get into, we saw what these Oblivion numbers are crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I think Expedition will be fine. And the last thing I'll say is that, remember, Expedition is not an Xbox Game Studio game, nor an exclusive. It is on Game Pass and it is multi-plat on all the platforms. So yeah, Game Pass, they'll get it, but it's going to be on PlayStation. It's going to be, so I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. I think a lot of times as us as gamers, hindsight 2020, we see it now happening in real time and we're like, oh my God, they screwed this game. I don't think it's the, I think they will be fine, especially now that we're seeing what Metacritic is doing, the Expedition is doing all that damn Metacritic. So
yeah, and I also think people underestimate a game isn't just determined by its launch sales. Like this is projects are built now with the idea of like, what's our sales in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now. Like it has that type of tail because they're not going to be putting something out for a while. So like it has to have that type of tail. So strategic discounts, obviously Game Pass and exposure, all this stuff is working in its favor where, again, I think the game will be more than fine. I think it'll do well. You also price your, typically, it could be wrong, but I feel like you price your games according to your budget. They have 30 people at their team, which by the way, as we'll talk about when he and I get to it, fucking insane.
Wow.
For the type of game they made. They have 30 people there. So their overhead isn't crazy where they are able to price the game lower and make what they need to make. They probably contracted it. I mean, right away, some of the first names I saw in the gameplay animators were like Korean people. So like they contracted a lot of the extra work, I think, for the game. And that's a good way to do business, man, because like you can keep your overhead costs really low and make games as good and as ambitious as Expedition 33, visually speaking, gameplay wise. So I think it's just a well-made project in that regard. And I feel pretty confident in its financial success long term. Would it have helped if there was no Oblivion? Of course, that is like the fair thing to point out here. But I don't think it's going to drown Expedition 33. You don't come out with this type of score and drown. You're gonna catch attention. You're gonna catch that wave. And the good news is they're coming at the end of the tidal wave. For the next big hit is, I'd say, Doom. So they got some time to themselves, which in a sense the Shadow Drop's good. Like Oblivion did its thing. People have established themselves. Now here comes this game 2 days later. We're in that type of industry. Like it's about where you are in the week. It's not even down to the month. It's where you are in the week. What's some thoughts from you? Do you think Oblivion's going to have a heavy impact on Expedition 33?
I think you guys kind of flirted around it. I don't think it won't have 0. I think it will have more than 0 just because of the scale. It's like everybody's like, hey, how big is it? And you go check Steam DB yesterday and Steam alone hit 180,000 players. And I was just like, okay, that's definitely, there's a lot of people who, I saw a meme joke is like, oh, I'm going to sell you a game again. It's like, I'm done buying Skyrim. What about Oblivion? Oh, crap. Yep. One of those kind of moments. And it was the fans of RPGs, Elder Scrolls, a series I've missed, by the way. So full coverage here. We'll probably be able to play Oblivion, but, finding time between everything is tough. Obviously, there's an audience. You don't see something like a remake come out and blast to 180,000 with, without being aware of that. But when it comes to Expedition 33, I was talking about this with Maddie last night before review scores dropped and stuff. And it was the hope that it was so good that it would shine as brightly as it needed to still be seen next to something as big as an Oblivion Remake Shadow Drop. And that's kind of the biggest thing is you see Oblivion, and I watched a couple reactions of people, and it was like, I think Co was one that I saw, and it was like, oh, this looks like people are just getting the reaction like, okay, UE5, shine, like there's a lot of work that they put into it, and these are not small games, so they're going to take up some time. And then you sit there and look at Expedition 33, it's probably actually smaller on scale, but still just an absolutely stunning game to play. And they're both right there. So some people are really going to be like, do I try the new thing? Or it's like, it's been 20 years since I played this thing. May as well jump back into something I know if I'm feeling that little bit of nostalgia. So I do feel like saying nothing is going to happen would probably be a lie. My hope personally, and kind of as Maddie alluded to, is that the Metacritic and hopefully video game award nominations, things like that, give it 1, 2, and 3 sets of legs that let it go on and on throughout the course of the year when it comes to video game of the year discussions and stuff like that, to give it another life after like 90 review scores and stuff like that. Because I'm going to rave about it too, but we have the marathon test going on as we speak. We're literally recording this when it just went live today. Yeah. You have Last Epoch doing its thing. You have, because I know they did a recent patch, so some people are in the middle of that. And there's just a lot to pull at people's time right now. So just when they're a smaller IP, and I don't think I've wanted to root for a game as hard as I have this one.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and because I know how good it is, and we'll get to why for me it worked so well. So it's one of those, like, I worry a little, but I also hope that the reviews are so damn good that it still gets its time to shine, and those legs and word of mouth gets out there and all that type of stuff. So it's kind of one of those, like, I'm not going to go tell somebody how to run marketing. That's not my job. I'm sure there's chief marketing people who have decided those things. But yeah, it is like, I feel like you can't look at your release and be like, well, nothing's going to happen because of this, because I don't think that would be true.
Sure. Yeah, dude. I feel like it should find its audience again. I think because it's also the thing that worked in its favor, I think most, is that it's a game you can finish in 30 hours if you want to. Took me 33 hours to beat, and I did stop, smell the roses, do a lot of the side stuff, but there was plenty more side stuff in the end game. There's a new game plus option. So there's more legs to it if you wanted to have it. But like, I do see a world where a lot of people get both. Like, I do see that world where it's like, I'm going to get my open world thing, I'm going to get my story thing, my turn-based thing, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to finish one of these within like a month, and the other one I'm just going to keep chipping through for a while. And come back to multiple times. So I think the game length helps it a lot. Where like, I think the tougher one is if this was like KCD2 and Oblivion Remaster, so then it's like, oh boy, that's kind of like we talked about with Avowed.
Yeah, we had with Avowed, right? We had
because Avowed's numbers did drown out a bit, and it was more evident. Where I think this is a game that should find, I think, good success. That's where I'm at with it. I think it should be good.
Yeah, last thing I was just saying, the financial beauty of it is like, hey, if you are struggling, you're like, hey, I want to get both, but I really have to make that one decision. This is where the Game Pass thing, really comes in handy. It's like, okay, you know what? I can jump right in Expedition right now. Either if you're on Xbox, right, you just get both in the Game Pass, you're golden. If you don't, you can say, all right, I'm on whatever platform or PC or plus, let's say PlayStation. You buy one. And hey, this could be an introduction for you for Game Pass for the other one, for either one. So you have the option here is what I'm trying to say, kind of thing. But I understand the point about effect, and I totally understand that where you're coming from.
Yeah, somebody somewhere related to Sandfall or Kepler's probably going like, really?
They got a bag. I can't say really when they got a bag for their game.
But I mean, you get to choose when you shadow drop something. You're like, we're Thursday, right?
Yeah, but you're third party.
I mean, I get that, but I was like, I'm just saying, somebody sitting in office is like, man.
No, I get it.
That's
I
all
totally get it. I totally get it. I think what we're going to discuss is what we learned this week is how powerful the Elder Scrolls IP still is, and Bethesda still is. And that's what we were reminded. And I think even me as a person who loves them were like, oh yeah, that's what it was like. I forgot, because we're coming from Starfield, and no disrespect to Starfield, and we're coming from, some, Redfall, whatever, kind of stumbles that they've had. And this is what Bethesda does. And that's why I was really reminded. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. So in that instant, you are absolutely right. And if you are Sandfall, you go, damn, okay. So I get that. I do understand that point.
It also could be good if Game Pass is getting more users. More people are going to play Expedition that probably wouldn't have before, thanks to Oblivion. So,
true.
There's that too.
Good point.
All right. Next up here, let's talk Fallout 3 Remaster. We haven't even finished the Oblivion Remaster, but let's talk Fallout 3. We know it's on the list. We know what's going to happen next. Blaine Ranking writes in, Maddie and Cog, let's fucking go. The Oblivion Remaster was way more than what I was expecting, and I can't wait to start playing it. This will hopefully be the first time I can complete Oblivion all the way through. This has me even more hyped for the Fallout 3 Remaster, as that is my favorite game of all time. If it comes any close to what they are doing here, I'll be on cloud 9. And who knows, after that, maybe we get a remake of the remaster of the legendary complete edition of Skyrim, which is, that's not too far-fetched, man. Not too far-fetched. I mean, that's free money. That's free money.
Jesus. Like, I don't know if they need to release Skyrim for the 17th time, but maybe.
Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't put it past them.
I would. Betty gonna be there day one. Look at that face. Betty gonna be there day one.
Everyone who says, it sounds ridiculous, but anyone who says, I wouldn't buy Skyrim again, you're a fucking liar. And Bethesda called you out on it. They have the sales numbers. They know.
The best part is, like, having never played any of these.
Yes, I know.
But whenever it does finally come out for the 17th time, maybe I'll get it for the first time.
You had your moment with the anniversary edition. That was like 3 or 4 years ago. So, that was another time.
I have my own reasons I've missed games. It's just usually time as we'll get to.
Well, they got to remake it now. So, fingers crossed. UE5 remake for Skyrim. Yeah, man. I mean, that was the first thing I thought when I was playing Oblivion. I can't lie. Is like, to me, Oblivion is the tougher lift. Like, there's so much to this game. Characters, locations. There's like, I think almost 150 more than Fallout 3, including its DLC. Like, Fallout 3 is 200 plus, including DLC. Oblivion's like, I think 350 plus on the base game map. So yes, it's a gargantuan project in that regard. The facial animations, character models, the different biomes, just way more needed uplifting. The general gameplay, everything. And Fallout 3 is, to me, the lighter lift. I'm like, this is a first-person shooter, a third-person shooter. You tweak those a bit, which they've shown now with the third-person animations they did with the Oblivion Remake or Remaster. I'm just like, oh, okay, you're going to go that far. So I like immediately went from, okay, I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic about a Fallout 3 Remaster. I'm like, if you're going to do this, I am going to be the most insatiable, insufferable piece of shit on the internet, bro. No one will want to talk to me because I'll be like all on cloud 9. I'll be like, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. This is going to be amazing. So I'm very excited about Fallout 3's remaster potential, especially because, again, I think it has the lower lift. You just need the music. A lot of the interiors are kind of like using the same assets. So you lift one, you lift them all. I think that's why the turnaround time for that game. They said in a tweet, Bethesda, that they started working on this in 2021. So obviously the Fallout 3 remaster has been underway for a little bit now, but less years to work on it, you'd have to imagine, and it makes sense. It's such a different scale and scope for the game, but you had a little sprinting, a little first-person shooting. I'm good, man. I don't, touch up the graphics a bit, because I'll say those Oblivion gates, crazy how good they look. Crazy. Insane. So, have you played Fallout 3 at least? No. I
was like, they're going to start picking it apart. The only Fallout I'd played is 4. And
where did you go from 2006 to 2008? What were you doing?
I've played there's a point to where it's like, I honestly, I don't know. It was like, that would have been post-college. I mean, I had time in World of Warcraft. There was plenty of time doing that. But that was
a WoW subscription, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, that was for a chunk.
Because you had PS3 though, right? You didn't have 360, I'm assuming.
No, I had 360.
You had 360. Because that's how maybe he didn't have 360 and he had PS3 at that point. And I was like, well, maybe that would make sense for your Bethesda gaps.
I kind of understand. Period. You're just walking around on this planet. You've just not experienced Fallout 3. That's how I'm hearing. Oh my God, bro. There's like a spiritual enlightenment just waiting for you, and you just didn't even know it.
Were you tempted to watch the Amazon Prime thing at all with all the, the hype, the zeitgeist about it?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the show looked good. I got a few episodes in, and then I will say is like, my wife reads a lot. I play games a lot. Obviously, it's what I do. So us finding TV shows is always like picking certain ones that we'll watch together. Like, I'm slowly working through Daredevil now with my wife to try and catch up to the new one. But it's like ones that are a little more mind leaning. I really got to find time to watch them on my own, and that's hard.
It's harder.
So it's like Fallout again. I'm like slowly working through that one. But no, I mean, from what I saw so far, like, Walton Goggins was killing it. Like, I mean, the show was fantastic so far. And I played Fallout 4 and I liked some of like the concepts to it, but I know 4 also, like, I think, what's the expansion to it or the DLC that I know Maddie loves? Far Harbor. Yeah, it's like, I know you like that, but the base was not like top on your list kind of thing. So it's like,
yeah, compared to the others.
Yeah. So it's like, I missed the big hype of like 3 in New Vegas and that kind of thing. So for me, those two not being in my wheelhouse. It's like I could list other games that I probably played as a mix in between there, but it's just like somehow I've missed the Bethesda games for a very long time. Unintentionally, it's not like I tried to avoid them. It's just kind of wasn't in my realm for a little while for whatever reason.
Follow-up question. I've never asked you this. Is it, because I'm not saying
I'm on the couch now.
Yeah, I gotta take my last word co-host, and we gotta have the
gotta take him to task right now. He's like, all right, we gotta talk, buddy.
I've always wanted this, like, because I noticed with you, it's third person a lot. Over the shoulder, very deep story, rich. Because I noticed I'm not seeing a lot of first person RPG love. You know what I mean? Like, do you think, is it a situation you didn't gravitate towards those style of games? Because that's what I've noticed. I noticed if it's third person, you're there day one. And I'm thinking maybe earlier, young E didn't gravitate towards the first person RPG.
Like, I've played so many different like genres of games. I don't feel like that's like an intentional avoidance.
Okay.
I'm trying to look. When did Oblivion come out originally?
2007?
2006. 08 was the Game of the Year edition.
I was like, no first person love for the E or the RPGs. I'm noticing the pattern here.
There's like a weird void I have in games where it was like I still played, but it was probably something stupid like WoW occupying a good chunk of time that I didn't get into other stuff. Yeah. It could have been because that was 20 years was 2004.
That could be a while. Yeah.
College.
Could be wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up 2007. I was like, Mass Effect took me a while to finally get to that. I did it with the remaster. Assassin's Creed. I'm just kind of getting into that series a little bit more. So there's
MMOs are killers. There's a ton of shit I missed because I was addicted to RuneScape. So
it's like I probably a lot. But I mean, I'll like Zeldas and Marios and certain things I would always kind of make my time for. But I mean, hell, I didn't play Metroid Prime. Period. And I love Super Metroid. So there's like a chunk of time in there that must have just fallen to WoW. There's too much to play. Yeah. But that's, because I was like, I played Avowed. I had a good time with that one. I think I gave it an 8. I had fun with that. So it's like, I'm not opposed. I think it was more just what I was into at the time.
I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on Skyrim after playing Avowed.
No, after playing Avowed.
You want me to go Avowed or Oblivion and then Skyrim? Is that what you want to?
Yeah, like I would love to hear it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like, I don't know if Oblivion Remaster is like Skyrim level, where like Skyrim just has so much diversity. That's like its best thing. It's got so many different things to do, so many quests, so many different dungeon types. The design of them is so much better. Yeah. Where I feel like, if you go Skyrim then Oblivion, you might be like, man, this
he needs to do Oblivion and Skyrim.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it works out. The remaster came out, so that'll be the relevent one for now.
Yep.
Awesome. Good. All right. Well,
sorry to everybody in the comments because I'm going to get destroyed.
No, you're fine. No, I'll say something stupid in the next hour. I called them big backs earlier, so they'll be heard about that, and then they'll not pay attention to the fact that you didn't play Peak Fiction. So don't worry, you're good. I want to knock one final talking point down. Let's have an honest talk about leak culture. JD stands for Just Dance Vance writes in. Greetings, Dukes.
Careful putting all of those letters and words together, by the way.
Yeah. Apologies for the long write-in, but I need to get this off my chest. It looks like Oblivion is finally coming to modern hardware as of writing this Monday night, and I got a bone to pick. Has leak culture gone too far in how word spreads about supposed projects? While we knew about this remaster/make for a couple of years, it feels like since a couple of months ago, the Trust Me Bro card has been played too much. This Detective Seeds character has been banned from being a source of the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit for getting things wrong a few times, and I'm honestly getting exhausted. Others, like Jeff Grubb, have been more right than wrong before, but I still feel like I've heard these exciting things, dudes, reports need to slow down. We can't keep letting them get away with it. What say you? Imran Khan told us about Metroid Prime Trilogy on Switch in 2019, but we only have one.
Hey, yo.
This man's got receipts.
He got receipts. Wow.
Yeah, dude. I also thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about like what this game kind of looks like in the terms of excitement, reception, and conversation if we had no idea it was coming. Because I know they leaked it themselves, and then the game just progressively leaked over and over and over and over to the point where I think it's the marketing campaign, as we talked about ad nauseum. But Kyle, where do you stand on this? Like, how do you feel about leak culture around games? And the kind of Trust Me Bro card and how everything seems to gain a level of traction if you have a number of followers, that sort of thing. Like, what's the feel? What's the vibe on that?
It's tough. You know, at times I can be conflicted because, you know, obviously, you know, I'm pro developer and I love, number one, obviously, when their moments are truly special. No one knew. You get an announcement, you get a reveal, you go, whoa, where did that come from? Right. And it truly is amazing. Right. And then, you know, look, I have friends that are obviously insiders. Right. And they actually have the balls to put themselves out there and say, hey, I think blah, blah, blah is happening. Right now, the reason why I don't tend to lean into that kind of stuff, and I know people are like, yeah, you just leaked the what you call it. But again, as far as the DLC, you know,
yeah, you were right on point with that. By the way, congrats.
Thank you, much appreciated. Again, I don't do that kind of stuff. Only in that case, Maddie, it was killing me inside to see you spiral about, damn, you know, they could separate it, do Chivernal, and then do this. And I was sitting on it. I knew it. And I was like, all right, this is what. And I even asked said individual on good authority, is it okay? See, I asked permission. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, all right, okay, you can do that. Cool. But generally, I keep that stuff to myself. I want the studio to get it. Now, on the flip side, yes, there are people I'm cool with who have a history of saying, hey, this is what I think is going to happen. And my point to that is when you put yourself out there, you're going to have to stand on it. And here's the thing. People are going to come with the receipts. Yo, you said that. That was wrong. You said that. That didn't happen, right? So again, that's why I got a respect for like the Jezzes, the Hendersons, you know, the Grubbs, whose track record is like, let's say the 90 percentile, that when they say it, it is mostly likely going to be a go. So it's one of those games I try not to play often because I know what comes with that. But as far as like to JD's point in reference to, you know, he's getting tired of these dudes, I think where I agree with him is that you see a lot of catchers on and people who try to do it really get the excitement going, and then it doesn't happen, and then there's really no repercussion, and they just keep going and keep going. And I think that could be really damaging. That's why I say, look at the track record. It's up to you, you know, if you want to listen to that source or whatever. But the internet, what basically what I'm trying to say is the internet does not forget, and there will be receipts, and they're gonna come for you. But you know, well, I don't know what you think. You think I never asked you about like this whole leak culture and where you at with it, and like where you at with this stuff.
I get both sides of somebody has information, they want to share it out there, they have a good track record. For some reason, people tend to trust him. I mean, Schreier gets sources better than just about anybody. So there are certain people, certain outlets and developers, and there's trust involved. So there is something to know that if a developer tells Jeff Grubb something is going to happen, there has to be some kind of understanding there that this is going to go public probably at some point whenever I feel like it's a thing. So I feel like there has to be some conscious decision behind that. But there's also a marketing team trying to do specific things for a reason. And you are absolutely shooting them in the foot sometimes by doing a leak or saying, hey, this thing's going to exist, because people don't take the time to put together a trailer and say, ta-da! Like you see a trailer, you see certain images show up, and then finally you see a title and everybody loses their mind. When these types of leaks happen, you do take away from those moments to be like, yeah, Oblivion's here. All right, well, let's see what it looks like, but I know it was coming. Or, you know, Ghost of Yotei. Didn't know what it was or what it was working on, but finally you see you're like, oh, this is this, and then those types of things. So there are moments to where, I mean, hell, Nintendo with Duskbloods. Yeah, imagine if that had leaked.
Yeah.
Like what would have been like, there's a exclusive FromSoft game coming, Souls game coming to Switch too. Like that would have won. For one, that would have been fake. Absolutely. Like whoever claimed that one better have known. But that's kind of the idea, is like those moments, because for some people that made the Nintendo showcase like passable. Because some people are like, because, you know, ups and downs of it. And without that moment, you'd be like, if you knew that was coming, that takes, I don't know. For me, it's kind of one of those to where I love movies. I've watched many over time. You get trailers and things and you hear, hey, this movie's in the works. Okay. Hey, there's, you know, the Harry Potter TV show is going to get its cast actually. And you see the actors that are going to be in it. For some reason, it doesn't feel quite the same when you know like a movie is going to exist versus devs. I also understand like some leaks coming out there, some announcements that are, you know, what Star Wars Eclipse may or may not still ever come out, but it's also the idea to draw in developers, and there's reasons for all of this stuff. But you've known me for a long time when it comes to showing too much or telling to, like, for me, I know this is going to sound stupid, but if you go back and watch the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer, it is an excellent trailer. You know it's a Star Wars movie, that's it. And it's one of those that did not tell you too much. And it's the joy of like walking in and experiencing stuff for the first time.
I got you.
There's a TV show that's going on right now. And if people didn't know what was coming in the episode that just happened recently, that I already know what happens this episode and I haven't even watched it yet. But if you played the game, you know it's coming. But for people watching, if that had leaked out there, would have messed with a lot of people. So for me, leaks, there's a scale to them, but it's just also sometimes I feel like you are taking away the joy of a lot of people. Now, not everybody lives in the internet bubble of binoculars that we do, where it's like, what is going on out there in the games world? And I know exactly everything that's coming. That's us. Like, I have a calendar of every announcement and stuff like that to keep track of. So I get a lot of people miss stuff too. But I don't know. For me, it's like, I would rather see less leaks and let marketing teams get to do their job and put together a trailer. Some trailers are great. Some trailers suck. But if I know it's coming, that takes something away from it already.
Gotcha.
That's my thought.
Yeah. I think the main problem I do have with the leak culture right now is it's leading to bad faith judgment on a lot of shit. Because it's one thing to leak, like what happened with Oblivion Remaster, I think was pretty innocent. Like, here are screenshots of the environments. It's like, okay, it's real, looks good, et cetera, et cetera. I think when we get into that culture of like, here's the story, I'm just like, what are you fucking doing, man? Yeah. Like, that's certifiably insane.
It's like spoiling a TV show or movie the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, here's the plot premise. It's like, even that I think is irresponsible. It's just like, of course we're going to talk about it. It's news, but the people who pull the trigger on that, I don't know why they do it. I'm like, that is such every plot either sounds the same or you can nutshell it in a way where it's like, yeah, like this is basic or this is stupid or this is why it's bad. I was talking a lot because him and I were going over actually some of my own story stuff, and he told me like a really interesting kind of way of thinking about it, which is like, we're always telling the same 10 stories all the time, just they're told in different ways. Yeah. And so when stories start to leak, it's just like, I never think it's fair. Like, I think you just have to play it, see for yourself. Yeah. You know, I feel like we're in a culture of leaking right now where you're unpacking things before it's real. You brought up Star Wars earlier, E. I didn't realize until they announced all the recent, like Star Wars Starfighter and everything like that. I'm like, oh, I mean, cool. Star Wars is coming back to theaters. I was talking to Laylee and she was like, when was the last one in theaters? I was like, I feel like it was just a couple of years ago. And I look, and we haven't had a Star Wars movie in theaters since 2019. Oh, wow. And which I'm like, which by the way, insane how much like the whole Disney Plus show thing took over. Like, I didn't think it would actually cannibalize their theater presence that much. But I bring all that up because I thought there was more happening than we've seen because of leaks. The Rey movie leaked. There was like a Star Wars horror movie that leaked. There was like all these different planned movies that were leaking. And they're literally, when you look at Star Wars movies in theaters, it has now on the Google search, like the list of planned movies. Like, leaks are so almost deliberately woven into the fabric of truth now that it's perplexing. It's planned, it's plotted almost. And I'm not like a conspiracy guy, but you know, I look at Ubisoft as another example. Like, they leak their own shit all the time. Assassin's Creed set in Japan.
Yeah. They're on developer leaks.
It's happening.
The next one's about witches and all the other stuff. And,
Oh, Hex, man. Supernatural. Let that go out there if you don't mind. Thanks, Tom Henderson or someone. You know, like,
for sure.
You know, I just feel like it's so deliberate now, and it's all part of a big game. And it's fun to track. It's fun to cover. It's fun to talk about when it's done well. Like, I believe that the Oblivion Remaster stuff was deliberate and it was fun. If that was the marketing campaign, like, I had a lot of fun covering it, talking about it, wondering. I was on the edge of my seat. Like, that is a great marketing campaign. If I'm giving Bethesda a lot of credit here, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say
that's kind of the thing. I think for me is like, if it's an intentional thing done by the developer to like drop a nugget here and be like, oh. And if they're really behind, and that's why I said, if you have that discussion with Jeff Grubb and you're like, hey, can I? I'm like, can I at least say this exists? Right. And somebody says yes, and that's fine. It's the point where if somebody gets information and they may burn a source to tell somebody about it, because I'm sorry, get the hell out of here. Like, that's the stuff. But it's like, if it's, as you say, intentional, or if it's a drip feed marketing situation, and if it's things that are, you know, announce that type of stuff, like, you know, that's just their choice on how to market it. And me, sometimes I prefer less, but it's the ones where it's like things get out there that should not have appeared. That's the stuff that I wish wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Because again, my biggest suspicion with the whole thing with Oblivion Remaster is like images that they had leaked that were just not promotional at all. Again, I think of the sewer grate that you exit. And I'm just like, I was like, who the fuck puts that there? But when you see the reveal stream, you see the changes to like combat, third person animations, like all this stuff. I'm like, no. Yeah, I'm not stupid. No. This was put here. Someone did this on purpose. They pulled the lid off, because then they announced a couple of days later, like, hey, here's when you'll find out. It's really,
you find out what's going on. And
beautifully played.
Yeah, beautifully played. And then last thing to say, I love what you said, Maddie, about narrative, because sometimes when you just read something on a paper, all right, this is what it's going to be, you completely lose the
even
context.
The best narratives, even any of your favorite stories
on paper.
Yeah, any of your favorite stories. It's just not. It's just not fair.
Good point.
Not. All right, let's stick with Oblivion some more. The remaster, we got some news for you. Reaches 182K concurrent players on Steam, and its first day right now as we're recording, it's at like 172. So people have just been playing it readily the whole time. Really good numbers to see, given its shadow drop, Game Pass. Pretty good stuff here. Cog, you making a face?
Yeah, this was again, Maddie. Like, I know I was there for Oblivion, but to see this outcry, like I saw someone stream. I forgot this chick's name. She was grown man tears, and she's like, I'm about to go outside the gate. She's doing a stream. Like, you could tell Oblivion meant so much to her. Yeah. And she literally stopped. She was standing outside the gate, and she just started to tear up. I started to tear. I'm like, damn, like it really, I forgot. So when I saw this level of love for Oblivion, because people forget, like, I remember I told you, Maddie, I'm the Oblivion guy. Oblivion was the first step out moment for Bethesda for me. And, you know, that truly transformed the way I look at RPGs on a global scale. And I remember how it made me feel, but I didn't know it still had that impact in a world where Skyrim exists now, which is now considered the GOAT. And you saw the love, you know, and I again, that 182, here's the key. People it was shadow dropped. People were at work, and this ain't even the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, so this is also, to your point, Maddie, almost like a master class shadow drop on how to do something about it. I will say this, though, in defense of a Hi-Fi Rush, of an established IP. What it showed me is the brand power of the Elder Scrolls name. And whenever Elder Scrolls 6 does come, all the people who are saying Bethesda this and Bethesda that, this is Bethesda pure. Yeah. And that's what that showed me. And I'm like, okay, this is what everybody wants. This is the true IP that is in the scale of the Call of Duties and the whatever. That was that kind of energy for how old is Oblivion? I can't remember.
It turns 20 years old to next year.
Yeah. Yep. Crazy. I was blown away. I literally, I didn't think it would do that. It humbled me, like, yo, that's Elder Scrolls, bro.
So what I was going to say is, you kind of actually said it right too, is the fact that it's the age range that we're getting to as gamers, because we actually probably split. I'm older than you, Maddie. Cog's older than me. We kind of all split this range. But if you take us all back 20 years, gaming was getting to a point at that time, and whatever age you were in that gaming, it was, what console was this on? Was this 360?
Yeah, this is 360.
Okay, so like that was the time. I mean, 360 is when I was getting like HD TVs were coming out. Fidelity was starting to go up.
720p just came out.
Yep, exactly.
We stepped up for 480i.
Oh no, I had the RGB, the component cables. Had to get the component cables for HD.
The 3 colors. Facts.
And I remember going to like Best Buy, camping out in college to get like this brick of an HD widescreen, because I wanted a widescreen.
Hell yeah.
To HD. I remember getting that thing, and this was that area. Everybody got whatever game it was that landed for you. Yeah. And this is the area for, and again, you could have been 16, you could have been 22, you could have been 30. Whenever it lands, that was a game that made a big difference. This is that era. So whatever from this era hit, and if, like, as you said, Oblivion is this one for you, if you found this then 20 years later, that is when nostalgia can really work. Some of the remakes, obviously, we know come a little too quickly, but this one, I mean, they do. But this one for sure is one that I think many people who grew up as gamers, this era of 3D being a thing, like Mario or Zelda Ocarina of Time, and those iconic moments, as you said, the step out moment. If you had that once, there's enough gamers now with disposable income, they all just bought it over lunch break and then went home to like preload it and buy it.
There's last before passing the baddie. Well, I know what'll be yours, E. If we get
you already know mine. I probably told you this.
Chrono Trigger energy, like how Oblivion got.
I'm so done.
You will see tears from him.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. Facts.
If they ever do a Chrono Trigger remake in the fidelity of Final Fantasy VII, shut everything else down.
You want it like that? Would you want it like Octopath Traveler?
Yeah. What about Octo? Yeah, that's a good one, Maddie. Would you take it Octo style, where it's like future, but you still retain an essence of that pixel art? But
I get the pixel art, but I can still go play the pixel art.
You want a realistic go-up? You don't want to keep the purity?
I can go play the purity. I mean, that's to me, that's like not saying I'm taking like 8-bit Zelda and then going to like pixel art. It's like, I can go play the pixel art. The pixel art still holds up. That's the thing. It's like, I don't need it again.
He want that Final Fantasy VII remake energy. I see what
the main reason is there are so many, like, the images that I can like try and extrapolate from a pixel art to that.
Gotcha.
And that's what I think Remake took. Like, I mean, when you see Cloud walk out in Remake style art, I'm going, okay, I didn't even play 7 and the Buster Sword looks freaking amazing. Like those moments, okay, that's the level for me with Frog and Robot and Chrono and Luna and the combo attacks. Like if they could pull that crap off, I will lose my mind. So that's
you better hope this going like bankrupt or something, because I always say that's their like break glass in case of emergency game. Like, okay, we're failing, we're about to go out of business.
Yeah, they would have to buy every weird ass license probably to make that work, but I don't care. Please do it.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna swing big and go out with our heads held high.
Go for it. Let me go. We got you.
Yeah. This player count looks good though. Looks really good. 182K day one weekday. It was already hitting that, on a lunch break. That was hilarious to see, by the way, how many people clearly took off for this game. Like you could just tell because those numbers are holding. Like people are definitely taking off of work and stuff. But man, I mean, it is, you brought up something, Cog, about like generations and timing and that sort of thing. And a lot of people's only Elder Scrolls game was Skyrim. And the smartest thing they did here was make Oblivion a lot more like Skyrim, because now Elder Scrolls fans who only played and love Skyrim get to play and enjoy Oblivion on the level of Skyrim.
That's what I realized, how many people still didn't play Oblivion, and that this is Oblivion for the first time for them.
Yep.
I saw that on my timeline. Crazy, man.
Yep. A lot of people like, it's my first time. It's my first time. And I thought that was exciting. I saw that a lot when I was covering it. Like, I never finished this game. I could never finish this game. Anytime I tried to play it, didn't feel good. And I think we had just a write-in earlier that was talking about that. So yeah, Oblivion Remaster finds itself in a really good pocket in time. I think that's why they chose this. That's the thing that did make sense. Now, seeing the crowd reaction and sort of I've never played this before, I'm like, that's why you chose Fallout 3 and why you chose Oblivion. Because enough time has passed where people like you and I are old enough where it's like, I was very young playing these games. There were some people who weren't even born that now are old enough to play these games. And like, that's the difference, right? Because like I was playing Oblivion when I was 11, I
was like 30. I was going to IT. I got called out in this chat. And they're like, wait a minute, Cog, I thought you was my age. How old was you when it came out? And I'm like, no, I went back to IT certification school. And I was doing my Microsoft certification classes at that time. And I remember having 2 to 3 hours of sleep the next day because I didn't want to stop playing. I had my 360, I got my HD TV, this is Cog, on his own apartment, you know what I'm saying? And I was trying to be responsible, but that game broke me on responsibility. I was like, I'm not stopping playing, bro. When we get into what we were playing, I'll tell you how the feelings kind of came back. But yeah, I was in that. But for you, you said, how old was you?
I was 11 because I was born in 95. So yeah, I was 10 or 11 playing that. Yeah,
that is an intense game for an 11-year-old.
Pete calls my name. That's all. Yeah, I can't act like I was understanding all. There's a reason why I went back and replayed all these games a million times because like Fallout 3 I played in middle school, and the first time I played it I didn't like it because I don't think I was old enough to really get it and appreciate it.
There's things that I'm getting now that I didn't get back then based on my RPG. Say skill set toolbox has gone. I'm like, I really wasn't a mortal and pestle alchemy dude, and I've been playing KCD now. And I'm like, let me get the mortal and pestle and start making stuff, bro. We'll get into it, but yeah, absolutely agree.
Awesome. Well, Oblivion seems to be doing quite well for itself. We'll see official sales numbers soon, I hope. At least player counts. Definitely, I know Bethesda will be dropping them probably within like a couple of weeks. For now, though, let's move on to the Outer Worlds 2. Got a couple more gameplay drops for you this week. This time, IGN first showed us the flaws system, the new flaws system. They also showed off science weapons. Again, a lot of the crazy loot that you can get. Science weapons look really good.
Look good?
By the way, yeah, look really good. The flaws system is interesting because they have even tied it into dialogue. So if you skip, for example, too many lines of dialogue, they give you the foot and mouth flaw. And so you get a timer. And if you don't pick the conversation just flies. Because you've just been rushing through dialogue too much. If you look at the sun too much, you get the sun gazer flaw, and it's like
there's a meme for that, but we'll move.
Yeah. If you look at the sun too much, though, you I think it's like you'll regen health during the daytime, but like your vision is like blurry, or like your aim down sights is like kind of off center, that sort of thing. So the game seems to pay really close attention to the things you're doing. That got me pretty excited as well. So. Yeah, I thought these are both really good gameplay drops. Particularly the science weapons just look like a lot of fun. Seems like they're making a lot more of them. I think they said the flaws, there were like over 30 of them. So there's a lot to pick from. There's going to be a lot thrown your way. They said that like an average playthrough might throw like 5 to 10 your way. Wow. So definitely more in the first game. So yeah, I'm very keen to see what else they've expanded. But again, back to my original talking point that I'll say week over week. Why are you the developer direct game, man? These are all, even the little questions are getting answered now. So, Cog, your thoughts on the Outer Worlds 2 gameplay drop?
Well, clearly I do share that thought with you overall. You know what I'm saying? Again, no IGN slander, but it's just one of those things like, man, you know what is going to be left for Obsidian to talk about at the direct, because it seems like we're learning so much.
Nothing, unless they have a secret game in the works.
Yeah, but I did watch I missed the science weapons, but I watched the flaws one, and I thought that was cool. I thought it was a great overhaul from part one, because obviously they let you choose it, but I love the fact that Outer Worlds is tracking everything you do.
Yep.
And the algorithm or every aspect of your play style is being monitored. And then I like the fact that it's optionally leaned in to say, hey, we've noticed you do this, right? Do you want to lean into that? And if so, you will get this bonus and these things. But now, granted, you'll get all these strengths, but they will come with a slight weakness or something that you have to deal with on the floor side. And I thought that was really cool. And absolutely hilarious, funny. Look, Outer Worlds, so I'm not really worried about it. This game looks phenomenal. It looks awesome. I will watch more of it, but I actually, to be honest, I know why I did. I probably didn't watch the science one subconsciously to save some surprise. I'm in my Ebontis bag, like to save some surprise for the damn direct, because I'm getting too much information early for a game that I love. So I'm just like, I've seen 1 or 2. I don't need to watch every single one. And,
I'm watching, like I told you last week, I'm watching every single one because I really want to put them to the test. Like, okay, I've seen everything you have to offer. What is your developer direct going to put in front of me that I don't know about this game already? I really want to fucking see it. So I'm going to put them to the test, man, because if so, that it's going to be one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for the game, but what the hell are we doing here?
They're just going to replay a montage of everything they've showed you already.
I think that's a lot of what it's going to end up being, because I'm like, unless this game is way more mechanically deep than any of us really understand or can process. Or again, my thought is like, well, is it just the Outer Worlds 2? I don't know. I'm in cope mode on that regard.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to sneak a little something in there? Like, surprise. I doubt it. But E, I don't know your thoughts on the Outer Worlds 2 and sort of what we've seen thus far. Have you taken any time to watch what IGN First has put out? Have you played the first one?
Did not play the first one.
Oh my God. Cog's theory is becoming true, bro. First person again.
First person.
I did jump into like Avowed. So had a chance to play that one. Okay. And that was like, it's like decent. Well, I don't know. So as I covered Destiny 2 and have for a while, there's always this like occasional thing, and that literally happened yesterday, where I'm like wanting to do something else, get pulled back for coverage, whatever. And there's always occasionally something like that that's happened over the years for mini games. Like I missed Breath of the Wild because of Destiny, because I'm an idiot, but I did.
In fairness, you are a full.
That was like the whole thing.
Yes, this guy, for full context, even though we are teasing about it,
for like 5 or 6 years. Yeah,
this man is a full-time Destiny 2 content creator in peak Destiny seasons. You know what I mean? But from the beginning, the origin story of me and Ebontis for LSM fam is we decided to do a Destiny podcast together at its lowest point during Destiny 1 Christmas Fires because we love the game so much. And we were like, we don't want it to die. We want to give the developers feedback on what we feel they can do to improve this thing we love. And then we watch the resurgence. And then he's been, again, when it comes to strategy, guys, when it comes to information on the game, this is the connoisseur of the thing. So that's what my man was doing for a lot of his career too. So I just had to defend you right there. You know what I'm saying?
So there are moments where, and that's usually what it was, just like timing wise or something like that. But it's, no, it looked interesting. There was like always the thing about Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds. I've always had those cross in my mind.
And they dropped around the same time as well.
I feel like they were pretty close. And then like after, as time's gone by, the one that I've actually heard talked about more is Wilds, just for its kind of like novel nature of understanding like the loop of what happens or something. So I probably need to play both Outer games, but for now, it's on my radar to watch. It is kind of surprising to see Obsidian, not Oblivion. Too many words. Obsidian do Avowed and this in the same year, and I know they're different teams, but that studio, I mean, I've heard you guys talk about them forever. They've been, as you guys have said, the Insomniac of Xbox, and they've been doing some amazing work. And if the humor is there, if like the characters and the mechanics, and if they can grow on what they did in the first one, which I've heard you guys talk about before, it's one that is on my radar to try and make time for, because the fall is so weird. Like we know, I saw one October date actually get claimed recently.
Cool. So you'll
got a couple. Yep. And then September 23rd has two on top of each other, which again, why? But also it's like, how close is GTA? Is it actually going to get pushed? They say it won't, but until it does, and all of those things. So it's like claiming a date right now is weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the date falls and I've got time for it, I plan to try. So we'll see.
Right on. All right. Well, Outer Worlds 2, we'll see you probably again next week for like your final week at IGN first. And from there, it's on the road to the Developer Direct. Couple other little things we want to bang out before we get to the meat of this show and what we're playing. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4 Remake will indeed have a career mode. This is confirmed over on their Twitter account. They showed like a brief 15-second reel, of what look to be missions and whatnot. So this is surprising at the same time as confusing. They said they got rid of like 4's mission structure, but then they showed a career mode that seemed to have like goofy open zone missions. So I don't know what's going on here, but this was one of my critiques going in. I was like, I don't know why they got rid of the whole mission mode in 4, but this gives hope not only for a redemption there, but also for people who want like Tony Hawk Underground and eventually American Wasteland remade, that they are on track for that stuff, those crazy missions, that wild shit that can happen inside the Tony Hawk map. So I thought this was just worth flagging out for people who may have missed it in this week of very busy news that Tony Hawk 3+4, when it comes out in July, will have a career mode of some kind. We'll learn more details soon, I imagine, but it is on the way. Gentlemen, any thoughts on this at all?
I'm
not a Tony Hawk guy. I never played this. This will be my first one.
Long ago, I played, I cannot remember if it was 1 or 2, but I played a decent amount of like one of them, but it's been so long for me to even think about getting back into a skate game. Like, this is one I don't know if I'll jump back into, but the fact that they're trying to have a more fleshed out remake for the +3 and +4 that almost didn't exist, I think. I mean, by all means, for the people who are looking for it, give them as much as content as you can give them, because I think there was a point where this almost didn't exist. So yeah, go for the gold if you can.
Yeah,
right on. Let's hope it delivers.
Yeah.
Last bit of news here. We talked about it last week and the week before, but now we have the official trailer thanks to Star Wars Celebration, Star Wars Zero Company. Get a vibe of the actual game itself. See the game in action in the last like 20 seconds or so of the trailer. Got some confirmed details. COG, permadeath, it's here. Ooh. Squad customization, it's here. Base building and expansion, it's here. This is looking like the Star Wars game of dreams for me. This is looking like the XCOM spiritual sequel of dreams for you. And together we'll unite as our own Zero Company. Facts. Seems like. But I thought this looked awesome, man. Like they were even describing in their stream. They're like, yeah, you can make like a a team of just droids or whatever you want. Like you can just really get funny and creative with it. Your main character can be like any race or anything like that. So I think this game looks awesome. It's coming out 2026.
Yes. Which I'm okay with.
I was going to say, when I first saw that, this was before the very rapid fire week of like 2 games sneaking up on me that I'll talk about in just a moment here. But now seeing it's 2026, at first I was like, you know what? But now knowing it, I'm like, yep, that's all good with me. I'm sure you'll find yourself in a nice pocket in that year where it's also inconvenient, but at least we can delay it a little bit more.
It'll be February with 5 other games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be like February with a bunch of other games. Exactly. So
February, the new November.
Yeah.
Facts.
Cog, your thoughts on what we saw here?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. Again, dream come true. Dream come true. Again, the favorite studios of mine. We already talked about how I feel about Respawn. They haven't missed. And then Bit Reactor being the XCOM guys, the guys who made War of the Chosen, Jake Solomon guys, who I consider the GOAT of turn-based. I looked at it up. This tactical play screams XCOM. I'm looking at the video. And then I got confirmation from my very own Travis, Ty Guy Travis from the Last Word podcast that it's taking place during the Clone Wars. So we got some Star Wars lore there. I like the fact that we got the different character types, Maddie, the Jedis, like you could do so much here. This is a perfect game. And the reason why it's perfect is because the reason why, I have to be honest, as hardcore as I am XCOM, the reason why XCOM never gets the critical mass is because they just don't have that IP brand recognition. Now you throw Maddie, Star Wars, coat of paint, and as long as they pay attention to the lore, you can have a real banger here. So I think this is a perfect marriage to finally get people to put respect on turn-based, classic tactical turn-based. Oh, man, I'm super hyped, super hyped. You have no idea. The dream come true. Let's go.
Any thoughts on this game at all? When you checked out the trailers, I don't know. What's your Star Wars fandom look like? Like, are you? Is it you like me? Is it kind of like you've been holding on for a while and you're starting to fade away just a little bit?
So for me, it's like, I don't know. For me, I'm probably one of those easy critics for Star Wars. Reminds me of like my wife's dad is like, if it's an action movie, he's kind of here for it. Jason Statham's 17 movie, it's still fun kind of thing. Like, when it comes to Star Wars, the idea of the lightsabers and the Jedi, it's like, I just like to see when Star Wars comes on screen. Mandalorian's been enjoyable. Even the Acolyte, I didn't dislike the way a lot of people did. And, you can read me in the comments if you want to, but it's like the lightsaber fight in there was pretty freaking amazing. Sadly, Obi-Wan was like the one that looked so under budget. And then you've got Andor, which is
heard that's amazing
show. Andor and then season 2 is.
Yeah, I gotta see it too.
Andor is
Raven Maddie. They saying it's it.
I heard.
Andor has 4 movies in it. They're 3 episodes each, basically. And that's the way they're releasing them this time as well. It's like 3 episodes, I think, a week.
Oh,
so it's kind of an extended movie.
I think Arcane did that as well.
They might have. But there's a couple of the movies in there. There's a sequence in, I want to say, the 5th or 6th episode, like the 7 through 9 movie. There's a speech, short one clip you may have seen. It's a speech by Stellan Skarsgård. Andor is one of those when you're like, when you can step away, when you can do characters right and you take the time to put it together, it's fantastic world to play around in when they do it right. So when it's something like this, it's like, doing a whole bunch of the tactical type games, that's been more COG. I haven't done as much. I've always like kind of looked and dabbled. I tried to do Super Mario Rabbids some just when I was traveling, but never got to finish it. But always kind of like the idea. And that game was probably better than it ever should have been. But the idea is cool. Yeah, I was like, that game was like, how did that happen? But I'll take it.
Weirdest combo of game mechanics and IP I think we'll ever see in our lifetimes.
Yeah, that's one of those. How did Nintendo approve that? Were they drunk? Like, I don't know.
Just weird enough.
Yeah, something like Star Wars would be like, all right. I mean, and you got Respawn. I'm going, the Respawn sign off, especially I've loved the Jedi games so far, and I know they're working on their 3rd. Those have been a blast to me. So if you can find me, like, maybe I'd scratch a little bit of multiple itches and be like, all right, let's see, because we'll get to talking about a game that I didn't know if I was going to be there. My God, was I there? So
I can't wait. We closing in.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I saw it and I'm kind of like, I haven't really done too much tactical, but this would be, depending on, as you said, the depth of the characters, the teams, the base building and all that. If it's got a lot to it, that's one where I could have a lot of fun. And for what I do for building guides and stuff like that, depending on if I can get access, that's a fun way to do it too. So
nice.
One for next year's radar of chaos.
Absolutely.
Nice.
All right. Moment of truth.
Bum, bum, bum.
What we have been playing. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. Oblivion Remake. Clair Obscur, Split Fiction, Blueprints, 100-line Last Defense Academy, First Berzerker Khazan. We have so many damn games to tell you about today. I normally, Cog, I kick it to you first. But I do want to kick to E because there's a game that we have both played and finished in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 that I want him to lead us off on. We both gave extremely strong reviews. I'll spoil mine. Just say I said it's one of the best games I ever played. You said you gave it a 10 out of 10. I want you to lead us in here a bit on this conversation about Clair Obscur and just what it did for you, what you liked, and if there was anything at all in this game that you may have just had a little critique of.
So Clair Obscur, got to see the trailer 10 months ago, I think, or 11, whenever that first trailer dropped. I'm like, all right, it was unique. I think that's one of the biggest things is there have been some games that have happened recently that are just unique to look at from the start. You've got, what's the other one? No Rest for the Wicked. That's another one that really landed for me. It's like this unique art style that's doing something. And again, they're kind of in the more realistic, but also very much warped reality in a way that I love. Trailer was like, but it was kind of turn-based looking, but it was like, I haven't played a turn-based in a while. But for me, and I was telling you this, Maddie, is like, I love Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG. Yeah. Those are two of my favorites when it comes to especially RPGs, because both of those hit at a good time and the turn-based worked. Chrono Trigger for the combo attacks and the characters. Super Mario RPG had kind of that real-time reactions. As I said, I've played WoW, I've played other things, I've played sports, and God knows everything in between. More in the past decade or so, Bloodborne being the first, and action games being a thing. Even like Mega Man growing, I'm a huge Mega Man fan too. So, that one, like action and timing and learning whatever the challenge is, whether it's like if you fall on this Mega Man jump, you're going to replay the entire level till you learn it, or a Souls boss you learn. It's the challenges that are presented in games that are presented in fair but tough ways that give you those fist pump satisfying moments of accomplishing that thing that's set in front of you. I did not know that's what this game was going to do. I've been playing, I just got off First Berzerker Khazan, I'll talk about that later. And when it comes to Souls games, just like Lies of P, I loved, there are a few that reach that high bar of, I got my ass kicked the first time I fought this guy, and then I just took him to school on about the 10th or 15th run. And it's that transition of learning the fights, getting your timing down, and knowing this animation's kind of this way, this animation's kind of this way. It's that satisfaction of taking a boss and knowing that they fairly tuned it to say you can start by getting your butt whooped and you can turn around and whoop his ass by the time you're done. That is really, really satisfying. But that also tells me how they made that fight is really, really well polished. And that's when you play certain bosses, you're like, man, these are cheap moves. Those suck. Those really piss me off when you get to a certain point. I actually mock reviewed a game. And there was a point where I was just button spamming to survive because it was not well tuned. So it's like, and that was feedback. Yeah.
Quick question, because one thing I know about you is your love for the soul genre. You're super passionate. For a person who, like myself, who respects them, who are intimidated, like, how do I survive in a world where these bosses are really tuned and like I'm Lord Turn-based and I might not have the skill set of an Ebontis and a Matty Plays to beat some phases to the level you guys do?
I'll get to the combat breakdown and we'll get there. I'm not going to say the game's not going to be challenged. There's also difficulty options. You can choose to play it how you want to, if you want to see the story or what. What worked for me on this game so much was that pull from my old school Mario RPG, a little bit of like, hey, you land on that like jump attack, but if you time it like frame perfect, you get an extra one or two or three or four. There was a little bit of that like action reactivity that you have in a turn-based game where I'm still picking an action, but it's something that keeps me engaged.
Got it.
Because I've talked with Maddie a little bit during this process. Thank God you and I could bounce ideas off each other. I will tell you too.
I know, I needed it.
Yeah, I was like, because
it was a level of like, I thought it was, gotta interrupt you, but I was like, Cog, it was a level of like, I thought this was so good. It was so good to have someone to check and be like, hey, am I bugging, bro? I was like, I think this is like one of the best things I've played. And he was like, no, I love it. Like, okay. You know, it was like in that pocket.
It's warm my heart because he don't do turn-based like that. So I'm like, this is amazing to me.
Like, of course, me or you are going to come in and be like, yeah, here's why it's amazing. But I was like, for a guy who doesn't like or did not get down with much turn-based, I think that is what the audience really needs to hear is like the conversion process, right?
And it's what made the combat special is probably why it worked for me. So if you don't know the premise of the game, I don't know if you guys have talked about it too much. The idea is there was a tragedy, things kind of part of the city like basically fell into the ocean. You have the city of Lumiere, not French, so sorry in advance on all of that. The game is also very French, by the way, which I love at certain points because they have no problem saying merde. Well, my wife did like literally majored in ballet, and I will tell her before when she goes to perform because she's done some musical theater stuff for dancing stuff since, but it's merde. Basically, what that means is shit or fuck, and basically,
they loose with it.
And then there's putain, and I forget that one, and that's another basically version of that kind of curse word.
Okay, so they loose with this.
Putain something, and it's like fucking hell. And it's like, but there's moments where it's just like bleep, and it's just like, yeah, this is French, and I'm wholly here for it. I actually just got done playing.
For sure.
I played about 3.5 hours of South of Midnight, and she drops a couple in there too, and I'm like, it's just real.
Yeah, it's real.
I kind of love those real emotions. Like George Carlin's one of my favorite comedians. Told like language master, had his list of 7 words and all that fun stuff. But when you overuse the like bad language, it kind of shows obviously, but when it's used in the right moments, or if it's just a real gut reaction, it hits. Yeah. And this is very French, and they're not nearly as shy. Same way Australia is about a very specific word, which I'm not going to repeat. But the same idea is like that language is there. So it's very French. You've got, I won't totally go through it. There's like an Eiffel Tower kind of warped to the back. Like the skyboxes are. You know Destiny skyboxes?
Yeah. Oh, talk to me.
You're here for it.
I'm here for that. Okay.
This is why the 30.
You only got one right behind him in his webcam.
You know how I get the skyboxes,
the 30-person team. I said it to Maddie. I was like, how? He said it to me, and then I was like, I don't know if they're getting paid enough, but it outed.
Yeah,
it's insane.
The labor cost must be crazy in France.
Oh yeah. So the opening sets up the story, and the emotional heartstrings are pulled pretty quick. But one of the first things before you even start, this is another one for you, Cog. The title screen, you're not going to hit pause. You're not going to hit start on for a minute because of the music.
We got to bang on the music as soon as we hit the title screen. That's when you already know you almost goated if you have the title screen music.
Title screen music? Like you could just sit there and set the controller down and be like, I don't have to hit start yet.
Yeah.
How iconic we're talking, Maddie. Like we talking
Dragon Age Origins level. Like that's the game I thought of where like that's the first game I played where that or Kingdom Hearts 2 where I like hit the title menu as a kid and I was like,
you just sit there.
Yeah. Same energy.
Okay.
Same energy. It's one of those things. It really is a little bit of bravado of like, we know we're going to just like fucking wow you. Know. Like we know
we got one.
We know. It just communicates to you. Like there's different title menus, right? And like they all say something. Like you can tell when a title menu's like, just hit new game, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
And you can tell when a title menu's like, here's the experience. And like that music that you first hear, it is definitely going to communicate to you like every bit of emotions you're going to experience throughout your journey. Okay, it really hits all those marks instantly.
Yeah. I mean, there are French lyrics in this game. Doesn't matter. Like the lyrics and the music are French. Doesn't matter. The emotion is conveyed. The music is awesome the whole way through. I don't care. It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let's go. Sets up the story. Emotions are straight out of the gate. And I showed one scene from the early part of the game to my wife because it's two of the early characters you meet. One of the main ones that Gustav, it's Charlie Cox. And there's a scene between them. And the idea is there's a monolith out there in the ocean. And this town has seen this number go down. When the number goes down, if you are that old, you basically get Thanos snapped. You vanish in this way.
I love it.
You are basically gone. And so that's where the emotion...
35 and up, and how it goes? Is it the
34 going down to 33?
There's a lot of subliminal messaging in the game, and I think that's one of them. Like the number's like 33, and it's like, they're like, yeah, once 33, you're out, bro. You're old. Like people are called old at like age 30. They're like, you're so old.
Yeah, there's a point where they talk about like having kids much younger so they have a longer life with them or more that they can add, because this number is shrinking and they've watched all of these things. So these expeditions.
I hate to stop y'all.
No, you're good.
It's an entity that's doing the snapping, and then they wake up and they see this model and be like, yo, Thanos is here.
So out in the distance, they see the number, and then sitting crouched beneath it basically for the year is who they call the paintress. Mm-hmm. And then every year when it's called the gommage, that's when when you kind of disapparate, basically. Mm-hmm. It's the gommage that kind of, she stands up. It's this whole thing. The number changes. That happens. And then you go through the next year. So it is this entity out there called the paintress that causes this to happen.
And the expeditions go out there to try and make progress to the paintress and stop her. So that everyone can no longer gommage.
And the number has been decreasing every year.
Yep.
So when you're on that journey, it's like your last year.
Yes.
And otherwise you gommage.
Thus you're the expedition for that. Oh.
Yeah, your expedition.
That's where the number comes in. So that's when I tried to write my review multiple times, and then the one I did on Twitter was just off the cuff, which turned out okay, thank God. Mm. My opening to this was always just like turn-based. That's not really Ebontis' thing. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Doesn't matter. Take all of those skepticisms and just absolutely throw them all out the window, because it's so I love this game so much, but we'll get to part of that reason. So Expedition 33, that's who you are. That's where the title comes from. This is your expedition to go out and try and stop the paintress, however that journey may happen. What makes this game special for me is the combat, the story, and the emotions. Mm-hmm. Those three combined, because you can have really good combat. If your story's crap, it's fun, but it doesn't draw you along on the journey.
That's why I fell off Elden Ring.
We can have different discussions about that. That's just a choice.
I'll be messy. I apologize.
I know.
Continue. I'm sorry. Speak the word. Speak the good word, brother.
But when you get to first, it's like, what's the combat all about? And you're like, okay, so turn-based combat is what you expect. You approach this initial tutorial enemy and you're on, okay, so pick your attack. You do your attack. Well, while the attack is going on, if it's a skill attack as opposed to a base attack, you have your perfect timing. So if you picture a diamond, it draws around the diamond and you have the last side of the diamond to hit the button on to boost that skill.
Got it.
That's your active side. You can actually turn that stuff off and on. You can turn the attacks off and on. So your attacks are basically always boosted, kind of like the QTE. If you don't want to hit the button, it's there.
Little revenge for Rise Son of Rome here, for sure. No one giving a fuck about this is pretty nice. I'm just like, yeah, you guys like this, don't you? You always like this. You just didn't want to say it back then, you know?
Talk to him.
But some attacks just have one. Some have two that are decently spaced. Some are like, bam, bam, you got to hit them timing. So you got to learn which skill is going to have the different timing. And if you miss both, it hits maybe for half. It's a pretty big whiff, in comparison to a full attack.
Okay. If you hit both perfectly,
that's what satisfaction. Okay,
you get extra hits off.
And this is again the 30 person team. And Maddie, you can probably expand on this a little bit.
Sure.
Every character's attack animations and the enemies as well. So much uniqueness to every aspect of combat between the enemies, the animations, the attacks, the defenses, the jumps. I'm not going to talk about two types of things. I'll try and leave that up, but there's even more that combat evolves to.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
Yeah, I was like, there's more, but I won't even mention those because you got to get there. All of those, the animation work is off the chain. Just it is absolutely gorgeous. So
very Sekiro coded. Sekiro's one of its design philosophies is defense is offense, and this game really captures that idea visibly. So when an enemy's coming in to attack you, I mean, the animations, whether it be a flash or the sound design, the way the game communicates to you, it's coming, but also that level of FromSoft style, hesitation where it's you roll early and they're got you, bitch, and they fucking cut you down.
Oh yeah.
This game does that to you a lot, bro. You'll see in because all my gameplay I used in my video was super early game because I was I don't want anyone to see anything remotely late. So you'll just see me dodging mad early, they pump fake the fuck out of you in this game.
Well, the best part is some of the early enemies, they're they're gonna attack slow. They're going to attack quick. They even tell you, it's like a pitcher saying, I'm going to throw you a curveball or I'm going to throw you a fastball and you're still going to miss. They'll tell you what's coming.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so it just really communicates to the player well. So I think the difference maker for someone like E or people who listen who are like, yeah, we know Maddie and Cog love their persona or their metaphor, but I can't really get into it, is that when you pass off your turn, you're still playing and engaging and paying attention, and it's tense. And the best part is there's no like single boss I encountered thus far. I don't know if it's in like the optional content, but at least in the main route, there's no boss that like I can't dodge. There's no boss I can't parry. So your defensive mechanics aren't turned offline ever, which I think is a really underappreciated choice about this game, because there are some games that shut off certain levers on you to make it difficult, which is fine. That is very traditional RPG turn-based design, and I don't think it's a problem with it. But this game really puts in front of you the idea of like, well, we're going to let you, like, if you're good at the game, you can go fight someone who's way higher level than you. And if you can dodge, which I did, before I did the final fight, I got a really powerful weapon for Lune because I went to some random tournament in the sky and I was totally over level for it, but I perfect dodged every attack and fought this thing for like 30 minutes straight, even though if I came back, I would have wiped this thing out in like 5 minutes if I was a higher level. But because I just did that and outskilled the enemy, it removes this whole element of turn-based of leveling and scaling and puts it more in the skill department. Which I just think is really interesting.
Where they got E.
Yeah, really unique. So there is a level of like, part of the fun of running around and fighting in this game is it's not just like, oh, I'm getting more powerful. I just like checking myself, honestly. Like it was a little bit of looking in the mirror and flexing your muscle a bit. Like you knew hour 1, you were getting hit a bunch. But by like hour 20, you're like dodging. You're like, you know, I'm going to multi-parry you and then I'm going to counterattack. I'm going to jump parry you. Like, that's where you start to get into your flow. It's a game that feels good to play, where I said in my review, I was like, you could give zero fucks about the story. You'd have to check yourself. Like you really would. If you play the story, you feel nothing. You check yourself. Like there's something's wrong on the inside.
Something wrong with you. Like,
yeah, literally. It's just like a bona fide incredible story. But even if you didn't like it, you're just going to have fun. Like that's all there. It's just an incredible, like I put Persona 5 Royal at the top of turn-based combat. Like I was like, yeah, that game with like the one more system, the all attacks, the baton passing, everything they added in Royal afterwards. Like it's very easy, but it's so fucking fun. Every fight is so fun. I think this game takes the crown though, which is saying a lot. No, bro. I'm my tweet.
Same thought with him. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Maddie, wait, I want to be clear. I want to stop you now, just in case you look back at the recording and you want to reflect.
No, I already committed. So,
so we are saying Expedition 33 is peak turn-based. This is
like literally the tweet I said, the first bullet point I had was best turn-based combat. Yes, really. Yep.
So
and in my review, I said it is like I texted E that I was like, I'm literally calling my shot. Like this is the best turn. I think I was 15 hours and I was like, this might be the best turn-based combat I've experienced. But the trick was like, can I wrap up this experience still feeling that way? When I finish it, bro, every boss has different mechanics, different weaknesses that you target. Because like one thing we haven't even talked about is free aiming. So like this game turns into a third-person shooter. Yep. You can literally pull out your gun and like start aiming around for a turn. Persona 5 does a similar thing. Like you can pull out your gun or your slingshot or whatever, and you can shoot your enemy to like build up a little bit extra damage. But this game has it where like you can aim your gun and the enemy might have like a part of their body, like a crystal or an eye or something that you can shoot and weaken if you keep attacking it over and over. And there was one chromatic boss that I fought, which by like, for those who don't know, chromatic bosses are the optional bosses. But there was one I fought that if you didn't target that weakness, every turn this motherfucker got more powerful. And it was the one boss that like made me rage in a way where I was like, it was the FromSoft rage. I was like, damn it. Like, I know I got like, but I need to get through to you. Like, I know I can get through to you, but he just kept getting me. So like they even have that element. It's just got a lot. It's a beautiful blending. I'd say compared to when Final Fantasy VII Remake came around, we had this moment in the industry where we went, action and turn-based can coincide in a really good way. This is that same reimagining. I don't think for people it's going to like, if you're like me and you love turn-based, I don't think you're going to go to a Persona or you're going to go to Octopath and be like, this sucks now. That's not what this does, but this does set a new standard of what turn-based can be. And it definitely, the win is for all turn-based games because this is going to open the genre for so many people like Persona 5 did. That was why I said like, yeah, I think this is, the crown's been taken from Persona 5, you know? It is just a level of like, this is going to open up the doors for so many people to try turn-based and get into Octopath Now, get into Persona, get into Trails, get into XCOM, get into all these turn-based games. Like, this is that gateway drug.
I got 2 questions for y'all. This y'all.
I was like, I got plenty more. So yeah,
I'm saying a lot. All right. So the questions I have as a person who loves turn-based, who loves distinct, I don't say classes or individuality from the team.
Every character.
Do you have that?
Every character plays differently.
Okay, cool. And then 2, where if we were to go now the action RPG, right, one of the things that Final Fantasy VII Remake I feel does better than anyone is that over-the-top summon/cinematic moment. Is that not part of...
they got cinematics, bro. There are some fights that I thought were like, oh, this is just like a mini boss for the story. And bro, they had like this one finale to one of the bosses that's like early in the game.
I want to say like dual wielding boss.
Yes.
Because it was the one you were like fire.
Yeah.
Cinematic after that moment.
I texted you about that. Yeah. Yep. That one. Look out for that one. Because that's a moment where the game just has like a flex moment. They're just like, no, this is like, we're building our presentation quality different. Because I think what a lot of us have been trained to think, that's why it was good to get E's thoughts while I was reviewing, because I was like, oh no, like this is good that he's feeling this way. Because for me, like typically what happens with these turn-based games is what they do is they hit you really hard in the opening. Cog, you know this, early. JRPGs hit you with like the anime cutscenes, all of like the big popping things early. The first 10 hours, they get the hook in you, and then they slowly pull back. And so the big moments then hit that height much again. Water. Yeah. But for the most part, it's kind of like treading water, gradually growing. But Expedition 33, I think it's funny because a lot of people are tired of fidelity-based games. They like the art-driven games, at least in like the hardcore gaming community. Yeah. But this game's biggest differentiator is that fidelity, is that presentation value. You get like the motion capture of like a AAA game. You get the fidelity of a AAA game, but it has like the style and flair of like your
stylized fidelity as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's got like the crazy animations and the vis effects and stuff that make it feel like fantasy and video gamey, but it feels very real. It brings these characters to life. And it's so interesting for me as someone who's loved these games for so long, because I really think the last time we saw this was Final Fantasy 13. Like the last time we saw a turn-based game say like, we're going to go and try to push the limits of fidelity. I mean, because after that, Final Fantasy went action. 14 was an MMO, but 15 was action, 16 was action. So when I really look across, and then you had Persona, Tales, Trails, all these games went more stylized, more and more stylized. So Expedition just comes in and they're like, their biggest thing is, funny enough, what the whole genre has been running from. And they're just like, we're here to like show out animation wise, fidelity wise. So yeah, in the terms of cinematics, I mean, there's tons of them, dude. They have a Kojima moment. There's a point in this game where I was watching cutscenes for I think like an hour. Like it's crazy.
There's a long set.
It's a long set that I'm pretty sure it's like over an hour, almost an hour and a half if I'm like mentally clocking it right. Like you're just there parked in your seat watching a movie, and it's fucking awesome. But to E's point about the character classes, if you will, is like it's very Final Fantasy in that regard. Like this game pulls from, I'd say if you were looking, if you're interested, you're listening to this and you're like, what are the 3 main touchstones? It's Persona, Final Fantasy, and Sekiro. It's very focused and intentional. Like the old school stuff is Final Fantasy. Like when you're roaming this world, like Final Fantasy has you roaming the world on foot, and then you get your airship, and then you can fly everywhere. Kind of a similar thing. Like you can walk, then you can swim, then you can fly. Yep. And then you can go underwater. But yeah, that's like the Final Fantasy-esque part of this game. But the classes are really great because like one is stance-based. Like if you're in one stance, like you're going to be more defensive. If you're in another stance, you're going to be more aggressive. Another stance does double damage. Another character has this thing called stain. So as you like, there's different.
Yeah, she's kind of like almost a mage too in the way she works with elements.
Yeah, there's like pictos. There's these thing called pictos, which can, by the way, make you so broken. Like the character building in this game is so good.
Oh yeah, the builds.
That's why my review is almost half an hour long, because there's so much I could sit here and keep unpacking for you.
I haven't even got to like other parts of combat that I want to get to, like the intricacies.
Yeah, they got builds. So like there's this thing called pictos, which if anyone's played Lost Odyssey, y'all know how I feel about that. That's my baby, bro.
Facts.
So I was so happy to finally see someone take from the tome of amazing ideas that game has. One of them that the game has is you have skills, And then you have mortals and immortals. As certain characters learn skills, if they're linked to each other, they'll learn it too. So everyone's skill set expands. So what this game does is you have these Pictos. You can only equip 3. But when you equip it and you fight with it for 4 fights and you win those 4 fights, you will then unlock that Pictos for everybody. So I had one on one of my characters that gives him like bonus AP per turn. Yeah. And so once he unlocked that, I could use it on Lune. I could use it on Mael. That was the idea, right? Like that is what it does. So the character building in this game is crazy. You're always going to your equipment menu, swapping out new Pictos, unlocking them, and then equipping them to other characters and just combining to make, like, pushing the boundaries of how fucking broken you can be.
Yeah. And it gives you this nice... Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, it gives you a nice...
Go ahead. No, you.
We both want to. No.
You're the guest. We're too excited. Go ahead.
I was going to say about the Pictos, the 3 that you equip, it gives you a nice incentive to continue to work, because you may like what one does, but you'll be getting a bunch of different ones as you go. The 3 that you equip have stats. Defense, health, things like that. And as you get a new one that you're like, oh, I was using this one at level 7. Well, I just got one to drop at level 15 and it's giving me how much health? Yeah, we're going to equip that, learn it, and figure out the rest from like, it gives you that incentive to be like, okay, I kind of need to progress, keep learning. And that just expands your palette to spend your Lumina currency. As he's saying, once you learn a Picto, all 3 characters spend however much Lumina they have to pick all these different ones. But the 3 that you equip, you'll find some later on that just do a straight up upgrade to that one. But like the stats that you get out of those, that's part of the build too, outside of RPG stats and stuff.
Yeah. It's random drip question. Can they change their drip, or they kind of established?
Yeah.
Drip is not
you can change the wardrobe. Yeah. Yeah, you can unlock that. Secret bosses have like unlockable outfits, haircuts.
That was my only issue. I did not like their drip. The default drip, I was not a fan. I was like, if they just had suits, I'd be, yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, it definitely... Pardon me. It definitely lets you change your outfits up. Some of them are really cool. Some of them are goofy, and just for how serious the game is, you are not going to change them. I promise.
Okay, fair enough.
I had trouble detaching from the haircuts they had. There's some haircuts that are really good, but I just like how I liked how the characters looked a lot when I was laying eyes on them. Yeah, they all look good. The characters themselves are great. It's just the combat I cannot sell people on enough. It is really. Incredible.
Yeah, it's like, so I want to take the combat a little deeper for Cog so he gets this.
Let's go.
So one of the first Pictos you'll get is called Dodger. Everybody's probably going to have that one. It costs 1 Lumina. So as soon as you learn it, Lumina is that currency, and you'll have like 15, 20, way more later on. It costs 1. So it's an easy one to equip. The idea is when you approach combat, you're worried about parries. I know we say the word Sekiro. Everybody's shaking their space boots. I get it.
I actually like parrying. I actually like the idea of parrying.
So... when you get into any engagement, as we said, some of the early enemies, they're going to do a tricky attack, or they're going to do a slow attack, or they're going to do a quick attack. They give you that warning. And early on, you might be like, okay, how do I do this? Because as I said to Maddie, is like, this isn't going to be your normal, like, this isn't going to be my chrono trigger or anything like that. This isn't going to be like, I attack, you attack, and I'm eventually just going to be able to kind of out damage you and survive it, or use some heals. This is going to be, if you're not active on the defensive side, I don't think you're going to survive as often as you probably would like. So you need to be active. But the way you are active is kind of a risk versus reward. Dodging has a bigger window, because what it is you'll actually see the character like in their little kind of semicircle facing the enemies pull back and slide in.
Got it.
During that slide away and slide back, that's the whole window where dodge is valid.
Got it.
What that will do is, if you do equip Dodger, you can get some action points for your future turn by using that. But if that's not equipped, you won't. So Dodge doesn't get you as much, but it's easier to accomplish because it's got a bigger window.
Right.
One attack that will come at you is a jump. Gives you a specific icon. It's like this kind of weird pound sign looking thing. And that shows up. And that's one where, say, a big shielded enemy is going to slam. Now, sometimes it's an individual attack. Sometimes it's the whole group. We'll have to actually jump together. But the awesome thing is the jump is pretty forgiving. So they kind of add these in to do a little bit of balance. When you jump together, you hit right trigger. When that happens, it's a triple counterattack back on that guy to absolutely bust him up.
Or if you do a triple parry and like you see like everyone like zooming in slow motion and then they like punch at the same time. It's fucking awesome, bro.
So and then you get to the parries. That's the one to where That is the risk versus reward. If you can parry when you early on, like, hey, this one spear funky guy is going to go for one stab. You get a parry, counterattack. And counterattacks are pretty potent. They really are. So learning them is good. Later on, you might have to parry 7 attacks in this one enemy. Like, this is a 7-hit combo that they're going to do. Yeah, if you miss one of those,
levels to it, bro. There's some fights that you'll do where there are guys that like I'm just like whiffing every parry, and I'm like, oh my god, I was like, 100%, I can't do this. Like, stop hitting me, bro. Like, stop.
So you have that point where it's like, okay, I want to try and parry because I think I've got the timing down. You miss that first parry. Like, I would say 98% of the time, if you don't get the whole sequence of parries, it doesn't get a counterattack. Sometimes I feel like I missed one and it would give me the counterattack. Right. And the counterattacks are so powerful. Once you're as powerful as you are later on, you want to hit them. But if you miss 1 or 2 parries, all of a sudden you're like, I got to switch to dodge. Now I got to get those dodges going. But if you start with the dodge, you can still build up some AP, but you're not going to get those counterattacks. But they do throw the jumps in there. So it's this whole thing. And then, as Maddie said, there's the free aim. So occasionally there's an enemy with a shield like this. Well, you have 3 characters. The shield facing over there, right? Not going to see it. The shield over on this side, you can actually see like inside, like Captain America's like tucked arm, but you can kind of see the shoulder. You can get the shot in there.
Based on positioning on where people, that's crazy.
Yeah. There's some enemies that are airborne. You can't go in for a swing because you always miss. Airbornes have to be hit by free aim. So you might have to unload 3 or 4 or 5 shots at an enemy. Thing about that is then when you get to your turn, you've only got a base attack in charge.
Got it. Okay.
So it's this kind of balance of what's going to hit me and no, the parry versus, and like those airborne ones, you can counterattack them, which is really helpful. But of course, if you like just go for a normal attack, you're like, what am I hitting here? I'm hitting nothing.
Final question I have on magic for both of you is I'm not hearing, on combat, is magic. How prevalent, Maddie? Is it a magic kind of thing, or is it that really part of the game is more of okay?
So skills. All the skills that's what the AP is for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You get this thing called AP, whether you attack and hit someone, you get hit. You can get Pictos to equip. That'll give you more when you dodge or when you parry or bonuses on starting your turn or on basic attack. Like you build all this up. Think of it like a skill pool. And then every character has a huge skill tree. Like, when I finished the game, I didn't have all of them unlocked.
You would need New Game Plus to get them all, I'm pretty sure. Because I think you and I both got a pretty good amount of them.
Yeah. And you, each one has each skill has different things. Like, medium damage heals your allies, though. And it's ice. Or fire damage. But if you miss, it's going to skip a turn. Like all these little permutations to it. But if you get it perfectly, again, that's where it's that's worth the risk reward. But yeah, there's again, standard JRPG stuff or RPG stuff, like weakness targeting. Like, yeah, you want to you're weak. Yeah, you're weak to fire. Like, let me hit you with fire then. If you hit an enemy that's the same element, like if you're fire and I shoot fire at you, you're going to absorb that for health.
Nice. So see, that's where metaphor and Persona, that's where they have.
No, it borrows heavily from Persona and presentation. That. When you press a button in Persona, you bring up your skills and Joker twists and pulls off his mask and a whole new menu opens. It's got the same thing in this game. When you press the skills, you'll see them pull out their weapon and ready it.
They've learned. They study from the goats. They study from the goats.
100%. No, they did their homework on everyone, but they came together with their own original ideas it's something I've said before, as I said, the future of game development is these Blender games. This is a Blender game. It throws in a ton of ideas, does them all so well together that it's insane. Nice. And sets a new standard for the genre because it's not we just did this or we just did that. It's they did all of them at the same time. And then, again, brought this Paper Mario style combat design in as well, which I, by the way, was never a huge fan of, but brought it, or even South Park Fractured Butthole. They that was another one that did it where I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's not my favorite thing, but then took FromSoft sensibilities from it and just made it this whole different game that just, amazing. I think, reinvents the genre in a way.
You're selling me. Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing, y'all.
I think it's priority one for anyone listening. If you can.
Yeah. So you've got lightning attacks, fire, earth. So you got your main elements. You've got light and dark, depending on attacks. You've got your base physicals. And again, there's certain enemies that could be the same combination. Light's going to heal this person or they're immune to it. You've also got shields that they're going to have. And that's kind of the thing. Some enemies will get a defense of just 3 shields. And it just is a hit. Well, then you're okay, I have 5 AP. I can use my free aim gun to take the shield with just a quick pop, but then it only leaves me with 2. But if I use a skill and the shield eats it up, that's kind of a waste. So again, you kind of have the, where do I use my AP back? And I think it was just, again, small studio, first game they've put out. I think they've been support for other people. They didn't miss to me. It always felt like this balanced counter, rock, paper, scissors rotation where you can find your way.
Right.
But they've also got something to potentially throw it against you. Like, hey, they're going to defend. Then there's like some fights where it's probably a later thing where they get like Berserk. They start attacking a lot. So then you get to the point where you got to counter just to get some damage in because their speed is like jacked up to the max.
Right.
It was, I think I rolled credits at 32 and you were 33.
Okay. I was the spiritual number of 33, which is crazy.
So for my final question for both of you, I got graphical fidelity, I got ideas, I got redefining the genre, I got some of the best combat, most engaging combat, I got defense, I got the question I need now is for a lot of people who are going to judge this narrative. And
we're fine.
So the origin,
so good.
The origin I'm hearing is starting off heartfelt and boom, but a lot without spoiling the journey and the ending, because a lot of people are gonna be like, was this worth it? Was this satisfying?
100%.
Got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it makes you it just has so many messages in it. It's really powerful. Like you get into it for the reason that E laid out earlier, like what's happening with the Paintress. I don't think you can predict where this thing's going. It's so ambiguous. It really plays with your intelligence a lot, where it like trusts you to kind of figure some things out, but in a way that like I don't want to say too much more. I just think it just trusts your intelligence a lot. Okay. And by the end, you're like, that was brilliant. There's just, I was telling E when we were texting, I said, I am looking so forward to your week to week.
Yes.
Because every week you're going to come back with a new.
I'm going to be literally skipping ahead to that section.
Yeah.
Like,
it's going to be, your reaction week to week will be better than any review out there, because every week you're going to come out and be like, all right, so I think I'm at the end now. And it's like, no, you're not.
I had to bite my tongue damn near off when Maddie asked me at one point, do you think I'm close to the end?
Yeah, I was like 15 hours off, bro. I was so
and I was just like, he was like, do you think I can finish it tonight? And I'm like, I don't think you'll finish it tonight. That was like the best way I could say it.
You were just like, I don't want to spoil you. I was like, all right, no problems. I said, I'm just, because I was trying to do is I was like, I know Oblivion's coming. I was like, I don't want to rush this. This is one of the best things I've played, but I also need to finish this.
You need a status check.
Yeah.
You need to know where you
was like, where am I at? And he was just like, I don't think you'll finish it tonight. And bro, I ended up like marathoning this game because I was just so into it. Yeah. And I ended up looking at my final play clock. I was like, bro, I was off by like 15 hours by that point. Like I was not close at all.
That reminded me with you in Metaphor. And you were like, I think I'm like, you still got a little bit more.
Yeah, it really has these moments where there's one particular fight that I'm like, oh, that was the ending. Like that was incredible. And then it's like not it. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like for me, the story works because the pacing, I don't want to say doesn't let up, but if like you could like tape your eyes open and not sleep and not worry about food, it's one of those that you like, you want to keep going because it hits you just like as Maddie said, there's no like, and then the like, no, it's like the introduction of the different characters that you meet, where they choose to kind of play.
We get
little flashback here.
Get 3-4 characters. How many? Oh, we get more.
Don't want to say
the number. Don't want to say. All right, let's not say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not say. Okay. Cool. Yeah. But there's additional characters.
There are additional characters. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Fair enough.
And each one brings something to the party of utter importance, like a balance of whether it be kind of emotional maturity or where they've come from for their backstory, how they're going to interact with the characters that are part of the party already. And one of the things is as you kind of get to a chapter ending, sit down at the campfire, talk to everybody. I cannot stress enough, for the story's sake, talk to everybody. And it says, do you want to spend time with them? Yes. Those are where you're going to get those deeper emotional connections. And when you
it's literally Persona. It's so
like when you go through those discussions, as you make it through them, you'll be like, I think this character's no, and then you start to get deeper into their persona and what they're going through and what they've been through, because all of this is laid out, but it's not just like exposition dump at any one point. It's all a little bit more subtle story, little pieces here and there that build these characters out as you go. But just the pacing of when you get the information is just spot on the whole way through. And then the other characters that you meet kind of add a little bit of levity, but also a little bit of gut check of like, what are you doing? What are you taking seriously? What should you not? And like, what is your value to you? There's one scene that I showed my wife very early on, and it's the first two characters, and it's the point where you see one of them very early almost break. And then you get to see the other side where the other like teammate calls him out. And it's the way she does it in this one cutscene to ask a question multiple times, to dig a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper with the same question, to watch the face of the character who's being asked go through it. And then this is why the performances add to it too. The words that were said could have been said but the way the words were said, the answer that came from that moment is just like, shit, I kind of get it. Yeah, like I get it. Like,
you better be down for this. You ain't down for this type energy. Okay.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna have those really deep, heartfelt moments. You're gonna have a little bit of lighter ones too that come. So they've got a good balance in both, and it's just the whole way through for me was it's just something I couldn't get enough of. And I am so busy right now that I can't like go back and replay it. I'd New Game Plus this thing in a second, and I don't do that right now. I would love to, but I can't. But it's
say less. So be Jesus.
And then when it comes to like optional boss fights, holy crap! There are a couple late optional bosses. I told Maddie the names of a couple places, and when you get to a point, which you'll just have to let me know, a couple optional bosses I fought, dude. Like they give you some stuff to go find a challenge. On another level, whether it's understanding the mechanics, how good is your parry skill, how beefed up are you, because this thing's going to hit you like a Mack truck. There's one I just absolutely got squashed on, but there were two other big ones I fought, and I'm going, these are still here, and I haven't even done them all.
Wow.
Yep.
So there's still some stuff I didn't get to, but I tried to do a few of the big ones, but story does not let down. That's why for me it was, no game is perfect. Could I nitpick here? Could I nitpick here on a couple spots? But when I got done, like, I mean, not to put the whole French thing on it, it's a masterpiece, a chef's kiss of a game. It is absolutely just
to this point is Expedition 33
my game of the year right now, no question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the best games I ever played. I don't know if I get out of this year without moving. You know, it just it hit every mark for me. It hit the music, the story, the combat. I would be very surprised if you and I are not like lockstep on this one. Yeah, like the whole year.
Wow.
Like, I feel that good about it where I'm like, even GTA 6, like for my taste, by the way, my
same
taste.
With me. Yeah, it's like same with me. It's like
what I look for in games. You know, I think the best thing I could also just say, if we were to like put a bow on this for now, is it being 30 hours is fantastic. You know, it's not even just like, I'm busy, you know, the you know, that sort of thing that we always kind of rattle off. It's really that it's a game that understands gamers. It has a lot of important things to say, but I think it also understands that you can be an RPG with seismic impact, but your game does not have to be seismic. You do not have to be hundreds of hours long. This game is right in that pocket that I have raved about RPGs for my entire life, where I talked about old school BioWare. Why did their games resonate? Because we got 30-hour games where they just really had storytelling that was intelligent and every moment counted. So those 30 hours were more impactful than, hey, dude, we talked, even, this is no disrespect to Metaphor, but even Metaphor had that moment where it's like it meanders, it kind of goes a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like this could have cut off a little bit sooner. This game would never have had that problem just because of its length. It makes it where I think people are going to, again, as we talked about with like, how is Oblivion and Clyde in this? It's like, you can try this and play it for a night, like put 3, 4, or 5 hours into it, and you're already a good part of the way there. It's not like a Metaphor where a 5-hour session amounts to nothing, you know, which is frustrating no matter what age I think you're at. You're like, man, I feel like I barely put a dent into this thing.
Yeah.
There is something to be said that's beautiful about the journey, but I described it in, I don't know if I said it in my review, but I was talking to Locke because I said, hey, dude, like, I know you're about the weebery and stuff. I said, this is an RPG without any of the weebery. It's turn-based without any of the weebery. Like, you'll love this. But I said, it's got like 100-hour adventure feel without actually being that long. Like, that's
a good way to describe it.
Like,
because when you get done, you're like, what did I just go on?
Yeah. Like, it really feels like such a big game. It is a big game, by the way, to be clear. 30 hours is huge. And that's not accounting for the side content and whatnot that you can dabble in for another 15, 20 hours plus New Game Plus. Like, it is a very big video game. But in the terms of what we're getting nowadays, like, it is so digestible and so fairly priced. We've talked about this like it's a Game Pass game. It's $50, dude. And in a time where so many people are bitching and moaning, they're like, oh my God, the game prices. Who's supposed to pay $80? I think everyone should line the fuck up and pay for this game. Like, it is
only 50, right?
Yeah. It is for what it is putting forward, not just like, oh, it was a good story. Like, they paid Charlie Cox, Ben Starr, Jennifer English, like top tier A-list actors in our industry or beyond our own industry.
Andy Serkis too.
Yeah, Andy. Sorry, thank you, Andy Serkis as well. Like, that's not a cheap cast, dude. The fidelity, they didn't go. By the way, art still has its own cost no matter what, but fidelity is obviously a very expensive way to approach things. They go to all these lengths, man. I feel like this is what people have been asking for from this industry, like a fairly priced game that gives you way more than what it's actually priced for. Like, this is a $70 game easily, but it is in such a fair competitive area that I would buy this 8 times over without even blinking, bro. Like, it just,
I
looked it up to see if there was a collector's edition after I finished it. I was like, I want the collector's edition.
It's sold out. It's sold out. There is one.
Oh wait, there is one. I couldn't find it.
Because IGN had like a buying guide. Statue of the Monolith, which I really, really freaking want.
Son of a bitch. I got to get that. Yeah, after I finished Persona 5 Royal, I did the same thing. I was like, I'm gonna go get the collector's edition, and I bought it off of eBay because I did not buy it at launch. So
here, I'll send you a picture. Check your Discord.
Yeah, okay.
I know another creator who got it, so that's the statue you get. I want it.
Yeah. We're gonna have to work the finances a little bit, figure some things out.
I feel that. Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have that.
I mean, it's one of those ones that I'm not going to forget for a long time, because for me now it's set the bar for what I want games like this for me to be.
Gotcha.
And it's that perfect, as you said, that blend of genres. One of the other games we'll talk about is Khazan, which is also freaking awesome, by the way. But it's like, I love that style and it made so many things together. But yeah, when you get, that's the whole package.
Yeah.
And it's only $50 from a 30-person team. I'm like, how in the hell did you pull this? Like, I think you asked me or I asked you, and it was like, how did they pull this off for this price?
Yeah.
And for this team and the size and the scale of what they did. When you get done playing it, you're going, they're massive teams that don't pull this stuff off as well, as polished, as balanced, as finely tuned to get a challenge. But that's the thing. There were bosses or bigger enemy fights early on. I'm like, man, I'm getting kind of my butt whooped. And then I'd have to use a lot of heals. And then as it went on, understand the attacks, and then launched a couple. I didn't have to redo a lot of bosses, because depending on heals and things that kind of balance, like you've got your walking around and you've got some heals, and that's kind of thing. You're not trying to refill mana the whole time. You're not worried about that, which I think actually helps a lot, because the action points are kind of per engagement setup. And the kind of a cool thing is you can always jump and get the first attack unless it's a boss, because you can. But almost any other enemy, you have this ability to do this kind of initial attack, and that means you get the first jump on everything. But if you're kind of roaming around an area or not paying attention and one gets on you a little too close, they get the first attack and you're like, kind of throws your whole jive off.
Yep.
No, I could go on this for too long, so I'm sorry, but yeah, it's
beautiful.
It's a special package, so I suggest it for everybody.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there so everyone can discover the rest for themselves. We look forward to the write-ins and everything. Cog, I want to kick it to you, get some games off your chest, and we'll keep cycling around and just jumping from game to game, because the what we're playing section is so long. I figured I'll break it up per game. So if you let me know what game you're going to talk about, and I will just update the timestamps as I go along here. So let me know what you're thinking about talking about here.
No, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, man.
All right.
The job is done. Audentes, Fortuna, Juvat. It flavors the bowl, man. I did it. Wow. What a journey. What a journey. Look, I will say, and I put this tweet out today because what I wanted to do, I beat it. I did a spoiler cast with Brad, Locke, Micah, and it was awesome, right? Break it down, and they're hearing our experiences. But the thing I like, Maddie, is that I tested choice and consequence after the fact. And what was truly amazing about the first was there's just nothing like this game in terms of, from a simulation RPG standpoint, from a realism standpoint, from what they are attempting to do with all these systems and skill checks and perk trees and perk points and, the hunger system and everything that they have going on. And like I said, this engine, how beautiful that the Cry engine is absolutely spectacular. It's truly in its own class now as far as like realistic Skyrim, but without the magic, and we're going authentic to the history of of old school Bohemia. And then you have the realism factor, which is like, you've got these real, King Wenceslas and Sigismund, like these are real figures. So it's like you're playing a character in this world with these real figures that's going on. And it's the journey for those who came from KCD1 of Henry now finding his way, almost from like a peasant, into the beginning to now, and now he's on his way to becoming more of an established player as he is the squire in a way to Hans Capon of Perkenstein, the Lord of Perkenstein. So look, I will say, the buddy story of Henry and Hans is awesome. The journey that they go on is absolutely amazing. There's a ton of twists and turns. My nitpick is yes, KCD loves to put you in a bad situation and take things from you a lot of times, but it doesn't happen often. And then you normally get it back. My only nitpick is that when you get things back, the way you have things structured and equipped sometimes gets fumbled all over the place, and it messes with your build a little bit. So that will be my nitpick off the jump. And the second nitpick, I did encounter a bug that you could go to different towns to like kind of, spend the night and say, hey, I want to end permanently for a week. I'll spend 100 groschen to do that. Sometimes I've had issues where it's like, it doesn't indicate where my bed is to sleep. And I'm like, then I sleep in the bed that I think is mine. And then you get to wake up in the morning, hey, halt. Like, bro, what are you doing here? And I'm like, bro, I paid for this. What you mean? So they gotta fix that part. But let me tell you right now, the story moments, outstanding. They have a lot of Mass Effect energy in the sense that you can, I haven't seen a game do this as bad. You can end the game early with a specific sequence of events if you are bold and if you are cunning, and do something and kill someone in a certain chapter, and it's over. And the game will tell you in a very cool way, hey, this was not the ideal ending, but this is what happened. Henry did this person, and as you were executed on the spot.
Game over. Braveheart style.
You know what I'm saying? But we respect that you even attempted to try this cutting thing. The fact that the developers put that in the game, I thought was ingenious. Then, Maddie, what we just came from, like we're kind of criticizing the Black Rock with a vow in terms of, I didn't feel that mattered, or I tried the other way. Oh no, KCD. First of all, the antagonist, the way you can handle that situation, one of the most chilling final speeches I've had from an antagonist to a protagonist, where I questioned myself. And he's like, powerful. This is what you okay, let me explain to you what's going on type energy. Oh, you could take me out, but we gonna have this moment. You gonna understand type. Beautiful done. Tons of payoffs for the first one. Even if you didn't play the first one, you could still understand the significance of certain things. That then you start to what I consider build the dirty dozen. And like anybody who knows who played KCD, I'm gonna shout out my man, Dry Devil, a very impactful, hilarious character. He gonna get things done his way. That's all I'm gonna say. And he's gonna cross moral lines, and you're gonna have to see where you at. And then the other thing that they do, which is really cool, is again, the game has multiple endings. And all I will say without spoiling is that based on things that you do, I gotta say it very carefully. I'm just gonna use the term your conscious, right? Will based on impactful points of the game, will reflect that certain things on your morality. And the game will test you in that respect on how you've handled situations, what type of Henry you become. Now, Matt, I got to give him props. KCD handled that romance very well. KCD.
The only romance I can think of that I experienced was like in the first map. You can sleep with a random woman at the wedding.
Yes.
Did you talk to her after you slept with her?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, bro. I've never seen a main protagonist have his stroke game cooked like that, but that was fucking crazy.
Manhood challenged.
Yes, crazy.
In the most hilarious, disrespectful way. Yeah, I was like, yo. Then
did he really win at the end of all that?
Oh yeah, let me tell. See what I like about it for the horny dukes. You could slide in this game.
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, I've been sliding in the game for sure.
You could slide. I need a wench for the night. Come, bathe me in oils and whatever, and things could pop off. But here's where it really gets dope. Like I know I will just say because I did every romance in KCD2. And there was a controversy.
Man, you are a man whore in that game.
Oh yeah, I'm getting it in. So you know me, I was shame my game. I like romance in my game.
This man is not monogamous. Be like, I'm going to focus on this one relationship. This is the one. No,
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said this is where KCD is the GOAT. Let's say you're Ebontis, right? And if you play KCD1, you had a love interest in KCD1. KCD2 starts off and says, hey, what about the last summer from back in the day? I remember old Henry. I remember that. And you start talking about, and you can say things to separate yourself early as far as your relationship. Still doesn't mean you can't cheat, right? But here's the thing. Not only, let me tell you the thoughts of this developer. At the end of the game, when other serious romances present itself, if you stay loyal, you get a special ending with Summer. You feel what I'm saying? With your boo from the first joy, if you stood loyal. What game? And she remember, Summer's not in KCD2. You feel me? That's the level of choice and consequence this game has. You know what I mean? But what I was saying is that as far as the controversy part, there was a controversial thing put in KCD that was optional, right? And I will say without spoiling, I've done every romance in this game. Bro, well done. Especially accurate to the time frame where certain behaviors were not allowed. So things had to be subtle. You understand? If y'all understand where I'm going. Because I'm not trying to spoil these, but I'm telling you, man, they did the care, they did the thing. Shout out to Father Goodwin, an exceptional character. One of the most hilarious moments is I will say there's a mission in the game called the Italian Job. That is one of the hilarious, funny missions where Father Goodwin has to be an Italian priest, Pope. Bro, best mission, one of the best missions in the game. You got to keep him drunk so that he can talk Latin and convince people of the foolishness. And then there's a team B where it's Henry and his team where they're trying to implement. So you everything you do is helping this other team. Masterclass. All I would say, definitely, bro, this is going to be a hard year. I'm not just about everything you guys said about it, which just sounds amazing. But I'm going to tell you right now, if KCD is not on that list, as far as being a contender, it needs a nom. This game is special. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. And again, the last nitpick I would say, if I had to just, is that it beats you up early. It really does. It's hard. The combat gets hard. You have no money. You really are beaten down. As you progress and you find your way with all the different systems or whatever route you take, for me, it was alchemy, using poison on my weapons. For me, it was being a hound master with Mutt and my dogs. You'll love the dog aspect. If you care about animals, I make sure, bro, Mutt get fed every day. I pet him every day. If
Did you name him Mutt, or is that his name?
That's his default name. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously your horseback riding, my horsemanship was dependent. Certain skill sets put me over the top, and I love the stealth of this game. Stealth killing is amazing. You can get your hitman on, you can hide the body, like there's so much to it, bro. Again, I would be hurt if Warhorse does not get him a nomination. Now, music's not super strong, but shout out to Adam Spoker, shout out to John Volta, orchestral scores, a lot of. Oh, we were talking about big scale war. Oh, we got big scale war, baby.
Oh,
we got Siege the Gate, baby.
Yes, sir.
We got it. It is going down type energy. It is really. I feel bad for for the first year Game Awards. I will tell you this. I will cut you some slack. I feel bad with all these games coming out. How many nominations and who gonna get left off? You know what I mean? It's that kind of year. So KCD2, you did that. Hardcore mode, I think, drops this week. And I'm waiting for the next little expansion. But yeah, I put a tweet out on Twitter today. I just wanted to shout out the devs. Spectacular job for KCD2.
Awesome. Got anything else you want to talk about on your list?
Yeah. Other things pretty quick. Obviously, Split Fiction. Speaking of contenders for Game of the Year,
let me in. Let's hear it,
bro. Again, like I said last week, Maddie. This was one I knew it was good, right? Joseph Fares, and 2-player game. Two characters. One is a writer that's kind of fantasy. The other one is a sci-fi kind of writer. They go to a company to get a job. I'm telling you right now, Joseph Fares is going to get in trouble because I don't care what nobody say. This is an indirect shot at EA and the corporations. Bro, they call it the game. The boss of the game is an executive who is creating a program who he lures developers in to pitch their games. And then the program that they suspend, it's called creative extraction. So we're going to extract all your ideas and then we're going to sell them to them. Bro, I'm like the balls of this. The unmitigated gall of Joseph Fares to be like, I'm going to make
this game. Give a fuck. He looks at his bank account and he's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Say what you want. Yeah.
The character look like the antagonist look like Andrew Wilson.
I believe it, bro. I believe it. Hey, Joseph Fares, dude, this is the guy who literally flipped on the camera and said, fuck the Oscars. Like,
the balls of this guy. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, look, the game, again, it is one of the most hardest described game I've ever played because it literally has every genre of every game you've ever played with mechanics and perspective changes and difficulty and boss fights. And, bro, there's things that you could tell were inspired by Mario. There's things you could tell. And then he has his own ideas that are crazy. All I will say is I'm up to this part now, me and PD, because shout out to Lord PD TV. Go check him out on his streams. We're streaming this game every Tuesday. We put about 4 or 5 hours in. There's a level that I just did that I will consider the Halo level. I'm just going to say, brother, they slowly introduce mechanics where it's like, okay, first I get a gun. I can shoot through, can shoot enemies and stuff like that. But I could also have like this grenade that busts through force field. But I could only do that to blue color things. And my partner can only do that same thing to red color things. The complexities of mechanics, of working together and figuring things out. This is action platforming strategy at the highest level. Like, bro, the ideas that this man comes together, I'm like, how are they thinking about it? And what PD told me is that the way he works is he lets his team just shoot ideas to him, and he really incorporates this mentality that there's no, like, he's not like, it's my way or the high. Hey, that sounds cool. Let's put it in. I don't know how they're doing this, bro. They've got like a Contra style level. Like, and again, I don't want to make this like I'm cheaping it. Like all he's doing is copying other games. No. He's got his own unique things in this game that I've never seen video games do on any level. So I want to be very respectful, but the only weak part you could say this game is pure gaming and gameplay at its core. I wouldn't say the story as you go on is like the strongest narrative and you're going to have some tear jerk. Well, this ain't that. You know what I'm saying? We're having fun. This is nonsensical. We're in these worlds. We're two women trying to figure out to work together, and we don't necessarily get along with each other right now, but we're trying to figure out how to get out of this world, this simulation that we've been trapped in. And that's what this is. And during this simulation, all these different gameplay mechanics and stuff happen. So again, probably about halfway in, but anyone who says this is their game of the year, shout out to my man Hole, shout out to so many people that played it. I get it. Because again, this is the definition of video game at the highest level. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Every like trailer you see, you're like, this looks ridiculous. And everything you've described.
Yes, you put a controller, you get your person, and what I like, it's forgiving enough for a non-gaming hardcore person. They only penalize if both of you die at the same time. You know what I mean? And then they're very forgiving with the checkpoints. Boss mechanics, like really cool, innovative stuff.
Like my wife and I played It Takes Two all the way through.
Yeah.
And our plan No, it's like we loved it. It was fun, little, rough on the elephant moment. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
When we got to that point, I'm like, are you really going to make us? Okay, we're doing this. And
what are you guys doing?
Yo, bro, you see what you just said?
Yeah.
That's split fiction on steroids.
Yeah.
You really want to make me do this?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I've only heard amazing things about it. A buddy of mine played through pretty much the whole thing. They were working on that crazy laser hell level that got the two people kind of the invite to the studio for the next one, which is awesome. Yeah. They've got through some of it, but still not beat all of it. But that got them to go back and like play and switch sides. I've only heard amazing things about it. I just haven't got to it yet. I've got a capture card for my PlayStation now, so I'm just going to kind of work on playing with my wife at some point.
Yes,
because we want. Yeah, it's like I want to. It's like we don't get to. There's not a lot of couch co-op. But yeah, every level, brand new mechanics. Whether it's like nail gun here, and then you're just everything was so fresh that whole time. It was fun the whole time.
Same thing. I appreciate both of you with significant others.
Yeah,
need to put this time aside for that game.
You would know. Seth is playing it right now. Sephiroth.
Oh, shout out to Seth. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to him, by the way. We were talking about like working out the other day, too, like last night, and he sent me a clip of him doing pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. I was like, you are insane, sir. He's an absolute monster doing like pull-ups with 90 pounds chained to him. And I'm just going, his back is nuts.
Shout out to Seth. Yeah, that was pretty much it. And then obviously, Barry, last one I played, and then I think we can talk together was that Oblivion thing. But I'll let you set it off.
Yeah, well, actually, let's let's get E in. Let's jump to blueprints for you. We'll knock out your games first, because then Cog and I will wax poetic, I imagine, for a very long time to round out the what we're playing sections. Let's hear from you on blueprints. How are you finding this one?
So there are rare puzzle games that land really, really well for me. Witness, fantastic, where I'm writing notes, feel like you're learning another language. Cocoon, 5 hours of perfection, one of my rare other masterpieces, because when I got done, it was like just the perfect amount of challenge, didn't overstay its welcome, the exact right length. You and I talked about that a couple years ago.
That's a mind twist.
This is a roguelike puzzler that works, because you could mess that up in so many ways. The idea is you inherit a mansion. You start in the entryway. There are 3 different rooms. You can, whichever room you go in, you'll draft floor plans for whatever room is going to be ahead of you. You're trying to get to the 46th room. You're in a 9x5 grid, which is 45. The depth the puzzles get to, there have been some of my streams where I'm like, it's like, I just, because some of it is a little RNG. You get a couple of rooms and you're trying to get all the way to the other side of this like grid, and I get to like the 8th room and I just like close myself in, because sometimes you'll get some that are dead ends, but they're really important, or you'll get some that'll connect, or you run out of keys, and it's this, and every room you go into costs you a step. So you have a couple of things that you kind of need to balance. But as you make progression, things start to open up, and then this thing happens here, and then this happens over here. There's more to this than you would ever expect. But the puzzle, the way things click, and you're like, if I do this and this, and I have this, then this changes the other stuff up here. And then you're like, okay, so I've kind of understood that thing now. It's like, it starts with this little, it's like you can do this little dart math game or whatever, and it's just a dart board, but as certain things are highlighted, you're doing like quick math things. Early on, they're pretty simple. Later on, they just like make it kind of complicated. Still never too crazy, but it's, and then so you kind of get and that'll get you some little currency. But then the first time you go to the garage and you open the garage, you're like, or first time something else happens. And then it's the little stuff you start messing with that could just absolutely, you're going, so how big is this game? It's just not this 9x45 or 9x5.
So there's a room. I still don't understand the part. Like what?
You walk in and say you're in like the entryway of a mansion, but it's an undrawn mansion because it's a roguelike every time. The idea is your uncle left you the mansion. I think you're like a nephew or something. And you can't sleep inside. You have to sleep in this little like tent outside. So every day you start fresh in the entryway. You can go left, right, or straight or to the right. So say I go to the right and then I draw a room. If I get a bedroom, I can pass through and go to the next one. Say I get the parlor, I do a left turn, but there's a little puzzle in there. Well, if I do that right, I get a couple of gems or I get a key. And those currencies that you're using are what allow you to draft different rooms. And what you're doing is trying to get all the way up to the top. But you figure out when you get to the top, you actually have to open the doors to this like 45th room. So you have to figure out how to open the doors. First time you've realized you've opened one, you're like, oh, now I know how to open one, but maybe the run isn't good. So now I need to get a run to get there. So there's always like 3 different things you're kind of working on in your head when you go for any one of these runs, like start to finish. So even though you're like, hey, I kind of want to do this, I want to get up there, but then this thing, you may not do all or any of them, but every time you get a run, if you draft a new room, you're going to learn something new or find a new code or access to a computer terminal. So it's one thing building on another. So even if you do a completely like botched run, you may learn something from it.
Got it.
So it's that whole combination of, it's one of those rare puzzle games that is an absolute gem. That's why it's sitting up there. I was like, man, this thing's freaking amazing. Now, for me, Clair Obscur is better. Right. But I would probably, if I call that a 10 for like just a puzzle journey to stretch your brain like Scarrow.
Yeah. Oh, Scarrow loves it, yeah.
He started playing it on stream. He got hooked. Yeah, hardcore.
Yeah, I can see him, his personality.
So like just solving puzzles, trying to figure things out, looking in the little clues. And some of it's like, they're not too crazy, but just when the puzzle pieces per se start fitting together. Yeah. I mean, you'll get to a point where there's this one room and you're like, okay, I know there's like an elevator thing that's going to work. How do I get that? And then later on, I'm going, all right, figured out how that works. And now so it's just the little pieces keep building up. And it's, I couldn't remember if Dustin said he played it. I was listening to Symbols. I can't remember if he said he did. It's just, it's going to take a few runs. And then as soon as 1 or 2 things start clicking, you're like, oh, I'll work on this. And then it's one of those just one more run. Like
the addictions. Okay,
so
I got it.
Much, man. And then you can even roll the credits and still have stuff to figure out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So the depth on it goes way bigger than I thought. I just got to some huge, like, kind of game-changing revelations. So I'm 15 hours in or so on it, and some major stuff just got revealed and unlocked and figured out.
How long is this game?
You can probably do it in like 15, 20, or you could also do it in 50, depending on how deep you want to go. Like, I mean, there's a lot that you don't have to do. There's things that make some of your runs easier. So it just kind of depends how much you figure out on each run. Like, how long does it take you to figure out a certain code or to do like those little things. So it kind of just depends on how your runs go. I would recommend not using a guide because you will kind of spoil a decent amount of the fun. If you do, like, if you look up one thing and you're like, I want to know one thing, maybe try and isolate like your tips without just browsing through a whole guide, because it'll just kind of ruin everything. But if you're just like, I know this is a thing, but I want to figure it out. But it is a very special puzzle game because they don't come across. I mean, it's in the realms of The Witness and Cocoon. It's that notch, that level of
high praise.
Very, very good game. Do you want me to cover Khazan too?
Yeah. Hit me with the first Berzerker Khazan. How are we finding it?
I mean, Clair Obscur took it, but this was Liza P. I think you're a fan too, right?
Oh, am
careful,
I?
Careful.
Yeah, I was like, I that was outside of your From Software and the Neo wheelhouse. Yeah, that was my one. I'm like, oh damn, this is, because it had the pairing that was good, the unique story aspects with the Pinocchio story. The boss fights were all just top notch the whole way through.
Peak fiction, man. So good.
And what I think where like the story in Khazan builds a little bit more, because I don't know the anime from anything, but I know it is based off like the Berserk anime and that kind of story. Yeah. But the way the story builds and you get more into it, like my nitpick on this game is a weird one. It is, if you have a decent size level, there is like a haze in the sky. It's almost like a weird volumetric like haze to kind of take the crispness out of things. And then like what that does is it kind of takes the contrast out of the game. It's like an art tweak, and it is the weirdest thing for me, because in boss fights in smaller rooms, not an issue at all. that's like kind of my main tweak. I would give this a 9 out of 10. It's an amazing game because the combat, 3 main weapons, skills for each of them. So a full skill tree for each weapon, main weapon. But it is so over the top. Like the first 2 missions, the demo I think is still out there. The second boss is what sets up kind of your whole journey because it's the Blade Phantom. And just the way the cinematics play out in each of these, because you were asking about like cinematic flair and Clair Obscur, wholly over the top in this game. Like, oh my God, so good.
And that this bespoke art style, that's that like kind of,
so it's like a cell shaded kind of anime, but then the world is like walking around a normal like UE4 rendered world. But it's like the contrast of like the thick lines and his ridiculous anime muscles and everything. And the hair, man, dude, this guy's like hair routine is nothing like nothing else.
Puts Cloud to shame.
Do what?
I said he puts Cloud to shame. Cloud's got
it is
the guy's got to spend like hours doing his hair every day.
Yeah, like that shower routine's got to be a hot minute. But so you talk about boss fights on some things. Every single boss fight was about 30 to an hour for me to learn, to go through. A few of them were about 3 hours. Final one was probably 5 to 6. Not my hardest one. It wasn't End of Sekiro. End of Sekiro is still my hardest one. Every boss fight is so unique, completely different moves, completely different characters. And then you'll have like side missions you can go do that'll kind of be like remixes of a couple of the bosses. But every major mission fight, extremely good. Then you get into like the gear that you can get, whether it's stats or builds or progression towards building up a certain meter. And then they have a really cool thing where it's like, you ever want to have a little control over your build? You can reroll stats on your build once you get a certain amount of currency to really lean into it. There are set bonuses.
Oh, you know, I love that.
Yeah. So you've got tons of sets to choose from. You've got sets that are paired with certain weapons as opposed to just like armor. So it's like, these are good for the spear. These are good for the axe, the greatsword, or the dual wields. And it's just the whole way through is just fun. There's enough exploration. As you explore, you'll find little bonuses here, but nothing crazy. But the exploration is typically rewarded. Truly one of the top-notch non-From Souls. And I would say like Liza P has... No, I mean... To me, I'm putting them next to each other.
Careful.
I'm putting them next to each other for different reasons.
Here, gotta be very careful.
Look, I haven't played the Khazan yet. I'm not going to disrespect it.
No,
careful.
Like Liza, I agree with him that Liza P is amazing. And where like
both.
I played both and beat both.
All right. Okay, let's look where we at with the souls. Who got that?
In my mind, they're both like I would give both a 9, but just different reasons.
Okay.
So the over-the-top flair, the cinematic animation that you get out of these boss fights is just mind-blowing that like what you're looking at. It is this over-the-top, just absolute... I mean, it is over-the-top anime, crazy fights, morphing bosses into multiple phases, and just the attack patterns, the visual look and everything. When you're fighting a boss in Lies of Peace, say there was the robot who was like my first wall. He was the king of puppets or whatever. I think he was one of the ones in the middle. His second phase broke me for so damn long. But it didn't have like the over-the-top flair. Still a beautiful game though all the way through, but still done in a different way.
Okay, what about this story though? Because everyone that says Liza P,
and that's where I would say the Liza P story probably wins.
Okay.
But I would also say that as you build into Khazan,
mark safe. I'm just mark safe.
As you build later and later, as you build later and later in Khazan, and you get to see a little bit more, you get to see like the reasons and the motivations that lead to the finale and the ultimate, and it really does hit deep towards the end. Takes a little bit to get there. Like a little bit of the mystery early on in Liza P is a little more intriguing because it's this whole Pinocchio and what's going on. Early on, it's just like, this is kind of the motivation of like the Khazan story and the Blade Phantom and everything. But later on, the motivation is like, you're kind of seeing what these characters have been through. And there's like just a couple moments when it all kind of comes back and sinks in. But I would give that hat to it. But when it just comes to, when a parry feels perfect, it's rare. Sekiro, Liza P figured it out pretty damn well, and this one is right there next to it.
Nice.
And when combat is that precise, you can dodge too. That's the other side, is you can go full dodge if you want to. And it's got that beautiful like apparition of when you dodge behind for just like the perfect dodges. It rewards skill in multiple different ways.
Nice.
And you have different ways to play it and still be rewarded, which is nice depending on what skills you go into and other stuff. And just the way the combat is set up, like Liza P had its tools and stuff. This is so based around your weapons and your skills. I mean, I know, Maddie, we're all swamped and everything, but if you ever do get around to it,
it sucks because I thought this game looked mid as hell for the longest time. I was like calling my shot. I was like, this looks like ass. Any trailer that showed up had the low frame rates and everyone comes out like, nah, it's peak. It's amazing. I'm just like, of course it is. Of course.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It's like story will be a little slower. I think in the end it resolves quite well. Cinematics are just awesome to look at every time, just mind-blowingly over the top. But it's just the combat in a game like this is just about as good as it gets. And I can't recommend, if you're looking for that Souls combat enough, that there are some fights in here, every one of them that you beat, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long to get the second boss will tell you pretty quick. So it's on my pantheon of Souls games, and it's definitely up there.
Okay. I mean, that says a lot. Yeah. That's one I do want to try. Now, I can't make any promises this year, bro. I don't know where.
No, believe me. I was like, this year just gets crazier and crazier.
I was just proud.
This can't be sustainable, though. It just. I'm not trying to complain, but this can't be sustainable. Like, it just. There's no way everyone's making, for all their investments, like maximum cash. That or there's really a story that's untold in the industry about. Like, I know most of these developers make a ton of their cash off of like the sales, like the discounts, but I mean. There's got to be either something untold here, or I don't know what, but like where these developers, these publishers are like, yeah, right there in the thick of the competition is another 80-hour game for you.
I rolled credits at about 75 hours.
Yeah, like it's like, dude, it sounds great. Like, I believe you, and I have no doubts about it. Like, I have friends who have been playing it. They're like, yeah, it's really good. I think I saw Brad was playing it.
100%ed it too.
Yeah, but I look at it, I'm like, damn, bro, like. Where am I I did this for a living. Where am I gonna find time for that? Because when I talk about this next game, I'm like, where am I gonna find time?
What I would tell you is when you get to, if a moment shows up, what I would tell you is the demo is level 1 and 2.
Okay, that helps.
And I've run that demo multiple times, so I can go through it like the back of my hand because I played it so many times for other reasons. But a few hours. To do the opening mission, very simple. You'll get through it pretty quick.
Carryover? Sorry to interrupt.
It does, actually. It does. Cool. The second boss, when you get to it, beat him, you're going to kind of really start to understand the parry, the combat, the trade, and the counters that you get, but also the arsenal of attacks that these bosses are going to have, because it is a wide swath of moves to learn. You get through that, and then you see the cinematic that follows it, and tell me you don't want to play more. That's all I'll say. But that would also, I think, for you content-wise, to be like, I tried this. All right, everybody sold me. It's like I found a little time, but then you could also go and be like, now you can go play it later for the full thing. But it'd be a way for you to just do like a brief preview.
Yeah. Because let me get into this next game here, because then I almost forgot, because we were going to jump into Oblivion, but there's one more that I've been playing. So one of my goats, Kazutaka Kodaka, creator of Danganronpa.
Oh, it's over. There we go.
Not over. That's the thing, right? I mean, in a sense, we all thought it was over. So it's been a real bumpy ride since V3. You know, this man came out. He's like, here's Danganronpa 1, easily my favorite visual novel. 2 comes out. I still think it's great, but it's my least favorite trilogy. V3 was I think, very divisive for people, but I think it was like one of the perfect endings to a franchise. They literally put that thing in a corner. They're like, yeah, NISA America, go ahead, try to expand the series while we're gone. I dare you, like, I just love where they left that thing. Just very conclusive, in my opinion. Since then, that was 2017. Kazutaka Kodaka and his how like we talked about like the core team of Persona moving on to do Metaphor.
Yeah.
Same, I don't have every name here, but same squad that did like Danganronpa, like the lead artist, the lead composer, Kodaka, went on to make their own studio in Tokyo Games. And they've made, how do I put this? politely, but they've just not reached the heights that they are capable of. And worse yet, with games that have come close, like a Raincode, right? That was a game we talked about when I actually moved into this house. I was playing Master Detective Archives Raincode. It is a murder mystery game. Mm-hmm. All of their games kept flirting with what Danganronpa was. Like, here's your pink blood. The music has the Danganronpa vibes. We're kind of a visual novel. But they just never committed. It's like, clearly this is what you want to do. You want to do Danganronpa again, but they never tried to go close to the sun with that. Mm-hmm. And because of that, their games always just felt like half-baked. Like, Raincode, as close as they got. Raincode is good, but like there was no emotional attachment to any of like the mysteries that were there. Yeah. It just, the characters weren't as good. Like, you're like, man, there's no way you guys are one-hit wonders because you hit 3 great games in a row. Like, we know you've got it in you. They would do random things like I talked about earlier this year, Tribe 9. Someone wrote in about it. Like, Tribe 9 is one of their best games. Strongly disagree with that sentiment. Once you get out of the whole intro section and into the free-to-play stuff, it's freemium crap, man. So, damn, I was just like, and I get why they're doing it, because they're running out of money. The marketing campaign for this game has been Kodaka literally going on social media saying, if this does not do well, I am retiring. Like, he put business out. It's real. Yeah, he's literally like, I am done. They went into debt making this game. They took out a loan from the Japanese banks that they put it all on the line for this game, right? So literally there is as I described this game, by the way, it is absolutely a artistic communication to the player about the situation this team is in. You are literally trapped in a school. There's this thing called the undying flames that are around you that are shrinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the metaphor. Yeah, it's a complete metaphor for the situation they're in. The walls are crumbling around them. They can't go beyond the flames. They do, they're dead. Damn. And so they need to ward it off.
Art imitates life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. Damn. Now, it's not just I'm obsessed with Danganronpa, but more that, like, because they've flown so close to the sun so many times, I know it's been a long setup, but like, I'm just like, you guys just got to go make a Danganronpa game. Well, it seems like they finally listened. So there's a demo out for this game. This demo is, by the way, incredibly long. But there's a demo out. I fired it up because this is the week it comes out. I already I didn't want Kodaka to go into retirement. So I bought the $100 version.
Support the devs.
Yeah, support the devs. I bought the $100 versions. I bought every collectible for like the games I have liked for them. It was Danganronpa 1, 2, 3, and then I bought 100 line. It seems like they just finally, it's so sad because if the reviews for this game have been amazing, by the way, naturally, like high 80s on Metacritic and stuff. So if this ends up being their final game, it's going to be sad because it feels like they just finally did what they were supposed to do when they left Danganronpa behind, but now they might have been doing it too late because I don't know how they get oxygen. They're the one, like, it's not going to be an expedition that drowns. It's going to be like a last defense that drowns here. That's what drowns here. But I want to sing my praises anyway. So I'm about like 5 hours in. And I mean, okay. Clearly, if they had the rights to the Danganronpa IP, they would have called it that. That is how close this thing is to Danganronpa, all right? The sound effects, the music. I mean, not even just, it's inspired by.
Oh, they went to it.
Ripped. They're like, it's ours, bitch. Like, this is our IP. We don't care what you do. We're probably going out of business anyway, so we are going to go down swinging. We're going with
the shit, baby.
Yeah. So, like, there's this defining, reverberating sound that Danganronpa makes when, like, when the song starts off like that like,
yes. Yep.
Songs start like that. All the character reactions are in sprites, and they do like the same like hitting the dong, the bell, the dong, and like someone's like, that sort of shit. Like they're full sending the Danganronpa vibe completely.
Let's go.
You're trapped in a school, full Danganronpa. So I'm like, yes, they're finally fucking doing it.
Yes.
There's a lot, but the thing that impressed me most is this is what we wanted, man, because they actually put some budget into like 3D production. So like, dude, the game opens up with like 20 minutes of cutscenes and like well produced.
Okay.
Well, it's funny. Well, like the main character has like a hoodie that says something. What? Hold on. I gotta get I have gameplay on my SSD here. I've never seen a main character with drip like this. This guy is wearing a hoodie. Hold on. I'm bringing it up right now. What does this shit say? Hold on. It says, come on, switch the camera to him. Hold on. It's hilarious because it's like a message again about like, I think where Kodaka's head is at when he was making this game. Because you know, like, we'll wear like clothes with like, I'm wearing like a We Know shirt right now. That's basically what it is here. Hold on. It's about to come up here any moment. Okay. Well, I'll continue my point while I search for this. But basically the idea behind the game is that you're brought to this academy and you're defending humanity from extinction. You don't know what's going on because when you were walking around, you have this mundane, boring life. You go to school, you go home, you live within a dome. You don't know what's going on beyond the dome. But when you get brought to the school, now the sky is wide open for you. And it is both a Danganronpa game, but also a tactics game. And so what happens is as you're doing the Danganronpa stuff, like you're going around the school, you're inspecting things like in first person. You're like, what's in this room? What's in this room? There'll be attacks on the school and you have to protect the school. And those attacks are where the tactics part shows up. So it's a turn-based tactics game as well. And
interesting.
Like, each character has their own. Like I feel it's so funny because I feel like Cog, if I put you on this first,
this one sound like the one I would have been rocking with.
I was gonna say if it wasn't busy, I'm not gonna hit you with the yo Cog, good try, bro. You know, I know well enough now. I think I got his shirt now. Okay, yeah, his shirt says, "I'm still too petrified to laugh." That's what his.
That's the hoodie.
Yeah, that's what the hoodie says. It's literally in small print. It's a white hoodie, small print. Main character's hoodie says, "I'm still too petrified to laugh." So yeah, again, I think a little message from Kodaka there. Like what his emotional state is. Anyway, as you go through these school segments, then you go to these fights. Each of the ultimate students has their own suite of skills and strategies. Like I said, it's early goings now, so I don't want to call it too early, but I gotta say, bro, this game's hilarious. It's so funny. The dialogue is so out of pocket. Like you got this one dude, his name is Shoma, and he is literal ass character design. Like he's got a bowl cut. He's got like booger green outfits. He's got a yellow backpack that's bigger than his whole body. He's like a short dude and he's so self-deprecating. He's like, why would you want to speak to a lowly peasant like me? Like the way he describes himself constantly, he's like, I'm just a fart in the wind. Like he hates himself, and it's so funny. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking up all the oxygen near you. Like it's so funny, bro. The dialogue in this game is like Kodaka unhinged. Like you got the mascot character that's like a Monokuma.
I was just about to say, how they got Monokuma.
He gives you your mission. He's like, hey, wait, I'm gonna go drop a deuce real quick. I'll talk to you later. Like,
this is so batty. This is so batty.
It's so fucking funny, bro. This is probably the funniest game I played in ages, just by that 5-hour stretch. Like, I was streaming it to my friends, and we were in tears every 5 seconds, bro. The dialogue, you could tell they just said, fuck it with this game.
We go it all out, baby.
The only twist that I'm a little scared about. I've been reading the reviews. Apparently, this game has 100 endings.
Damn.
And it's like 100+ hours long.
Possible.
Yeah, like they went all in. So the thing though is, bro, I am here. I am going for it because I have played every Kodaka game and I've dropped everyone. This is the one I'm like, I don't want to drop. I'm like, this is really good. This is exactly what I wanted.
The consensus from the reviews are.
Let me look it up just to be sure, because I've heard.
What's the energy like?
Because one of the artists on our team is a huge Danganronpa head, loves like Zero Escape, all that stuff. And she was just like, did you see those reviews? And she gave me the eye emoji. And I was just like, I was like, what are you?
There's hope for the boy.
Yeah.
There's hope for the boy.
Yeah,
okay.
So, hold on. Metacritic. Last Defense Academy. 85.
All right, there we go.
No, that's
strong.
Very good.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right in the pocket it needs to be in. That's the highest reviewed game they have had since V3. Open Critic has it at 87.
There we go.
And exactly that's where they've needed to live for a while. So
good for them.
You know, this is I'm in, bro, because I loved what I played. It was hilarious. It was thought provoking. It was fun. And dude, this is the guy who I'll just say is not afraid to kill his main characters. He is not afraid to break your heart. He's not afraid to fuck the marketing team over, is what I'll say. If anyone's played V3, he is not afraid to have you market your whole game around something and be like, nah, that wasn't it. You guys bought something else. Like, this guy is so insane. That's why I'm like, you gotta I can't tell the audience, go out there and buy it, bro. But like, for those of you who are the Kodaka fans like me, I know you might be like me. You've just hit the snooze alarm on this dude a million times. You're like, oh, Kodaka game. You hit the snooze button on your alarm. You're like, wake me up when it's good. This is that moment. It's the call to arms, and it's like the last defense, man. This is it. So what I've played has been great, been hilarious, and I'm excited to play more. I've been playing it on Switch. And I think it's only available on Switch, so
maybe exclusive. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it makes the jump to other platforms, but Switch and PC, I believe.
Nice.
All right, enough of the weebery, enough of everything else. Cog, we've been playing Oblivion Remaster. I keep calling it remake. I put remake in the timestamp here. I'm gonna tell Dustin remaster.
That tells you something subconsciously.
Yes, it actually does. Yeah. So I want to get your thoughts first, Cog.
Yeah. I'll keep it brief because I have the least amount of hours. Obviously, this was the week I had to finish up KCD and do all the multiple innings. And obviously, E knows, this is the week marathon drops. And I was finally able to get in.
Catching people streaming that too.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So this has been a crazy week. So I was like, all right. We didn't know what was going to happen, right? We're like, Monday, is it going to shadow drop? Then we're like, okay, tune in Tuesday. Yep. Okay, so I'm in a whirlwind of just trying to survive what this whole zeitgeist of this game is going to be. And I'm just, me and you were talking back and forth, man. Okay, what's going on? And and then it drops. And first let's shout out the reveal, because I would be remiss to not say how beautifully, in my opinion, that was handled. I was very worried about our man, Matty, what's his name? Wes Johnson, I believe his name is. Yep. Wes Johnson, who, the iconic E, for those who don't know, was like, halt, you stop the law. He's done a lot of the guards. He's done, was it Shio Gorak, one of the best DLCs.
Basically every iconic voice in a BGS game.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? So you're worried about certain things, and then you see the level of detail, you see what is revealed, and you go, wow. This seems beyond just a normal remaster. This feels like so much care is being put in. Now, obviously, they did say, we're going to keep some of the quirkiness and the flavor that is Oblivion. We're not going to completely remove it, but I saw the sprint, and I'm like, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did you try to sprint up a hill? Yeah. In third person.
How's that look crazy?
Bro, it's so dumb.
It looks so stupid.
Your character runs like this and he puts his head down, so when you're running up the hill, you're just like running straight into the wall. It's in third person. It's hilarious. Sorry, go on.
No, it's hilarious just to see, and I'm just like, man. Again, the UE5 glow up is just outstanding. It is truly outstanding. I looked at your tweet and I see you did the classic. Hey, let's take the pan off on conversations. I think E also doesn't like that feature with it.
I like the feature a lot. I was just a lot of people thought I was doing it like,
we thought you didn't like it. Yeah,
fuck that, man.
That's what I thought.
It's like, bro, what do you guys think? Who do you think I am? Like,
I thought I discovered something new, because E, correct me if I'm wrong, with Starfield, I think you turned that off, right? Or no?
What?
You left that alone. When like in Bethesda games, when you talk to someone and then you get the zoom in on the NPC that you talk to, or am I getting mistaken? You left that alone.
I didn't touch it.
Okay, got it.
I turned it off because I think it's good. Skyrim does it. Skyrim does it, and I think it's really good. Like, I think it's a great option to offer because it keeps the world alive. In Oblivion, it's really weird because the whole world freezes. So when you get that free camera, it's just like everyone's just like this. So, no doubt Fallout 3 will have the same thing.
Right. Now, shout out to KCD, which I love. I forgot to mention is that KCD, they got a whole algorithm. Everybody's moving around naturally. It's crazy. But anyway, back on point. So we saw the review. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm seeing the love and care. And they're like, okay, obviously, boom, out now. Downloads going 128 gigs. You're like, all right.
Damn.
Get it going. Bro, it's crazy.
Chunky.
It's a chunky boy.
Light
work, bro. So and then while I'm waiting, I have my dynamic background. Shout out to that. Did you do your dynamic background on Xbox?
I have not given up on my Xbox 20th anniversary one yet, but I'm considering it.
That's right, because you got a contender for your title. Yeah, I got you.
I love the 20th anniversary one, man. That OG Xbox. I love firing up to that thing, man.
Fair enough. I ain't gonna let you choose between your children. So for me, it switched immediately. I was like, Oblivion Gate, let's go. The hero, let's go, Kavaч, let's get it. Bro, just jumping out from the very beginning, just talking to the Uriel Septum and seeing the facial animations and seeing the glow up, I'm just completely blown away. You know, I've seen the animations in terms of with the blocking and the combat. I'm seeing the difference on that. Just subtle changes, just the way things feel, the light sourcing. Going into even when you get out, I went into like one of my first early dungeons, and I'm seeing the light sourcing of the symbol of this like leafy tree illuminating in the distance off the wall of the brick. And then as you go deeper and deeper into the cave, it is absolutely amazing, the love and care that they have done. And I'm legit blown away. With how amazing it is. So again, didn't put too many hours in it just yet because again, there's so much going on this week. I'm going to probably put more in for next week. But I'm going to let you wax poetic on what you've done, what you've not done, what you've seen, what you didn't like or whatever. And I'm just really amazed at how, again, this basically what it is what we said earlier. The reason why we keep seeing remake is that it feels like a remake. This is what the attention that you want to give to a game that's first of all been gone a significant amount of time. Yep. And then now you say, okay, we are going to not only hit this engine from the ground up, a lot of the key issues that people had, we're going to address. We're also going to do things with the voices. We're going to do things with the background, the skyboxes. It's truly amazing stuff. So I want to hear from you, Matt, because I'm assuming you got a chance to really. I'm very jealous of you. Let me get this out. I texted you. I was
cogged and eat the script so late. I was like, yeah, I came up for air for this. Thank God I didn't have to write a lot. Otherwise, I would have been like, God, I have such a long night ahead of me.
Very jealous of both of you because both of you have an expedition done.
Yes.
Right. So you could breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a world where it's like, man, I got Oblivion. Yeah. And so you can truly, savor what you're about to tell me with Oblivion. Well, I got to sit there and choose between children.
Which one have you played before?
Oblivion.
So what I would probably tell you if you've played the one before is do about 2 hours in Expedition.
Yeah.
And then see if that draws you through. Or if you're like, I want to kind of bounce back and forth.
Right.
2 hours will really kind of introduce you just enough to where you'll see a little bit and kind of get a feel. Doesn't have to be longer than that. That's as long as I would say you need.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
telling me to go away from Chrono Trigger would never happen. So I totally understand with that whole point. But like, if you're trying to decide, I think 2 hours would be long enough for you to see enough to get that like vibe check to go, I'm going to mix or let me hardline this and then have this.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of people are going to with Oblivion Remaster. I think a lot of people who are subscribed to Game Pass are going to literally like beeline it to Expedition and not come back for a while.
Yeah.
But with Oblivion, man. I mean, like I went in with kind of low expectations because Sky Oblivion set the bar so high.
Yes.
And then Virtuos last project set the bar really low. So I was just like, where is this thing going to land?
Yeah.
It's landed in a really good spot. I really like what they've done here. The third person animation overhaul is probably the most important thing to call out because it's just like, it's the best looking and feeling third person Bethesda anything
has ever done.
Really. And I'm just like, I enjoyed running around in the world like this, but now I like fighting in this.
Yes.
I mean, it makes a very strong case for Bethesda. You might want to continue the partnership to new games like Elder Scrolls 6. Probably support more
Virtuos, is that right?
Unique animations and that sort of thing. Yeah, Virtuos helped them.
Helped them.
It was Virtuos, it was Bethesda Rockland, and Bethesda Rockville, not Rockland, and Montreal, I believe, was the other one.
So is Elder Scrolls 6 the next thing on their radar?
So right now that FTC document has been accurate as fuck. It's just been 2 years late. So Elder Scrolls 6 should be in 2027.
I would be floored.
Yeah.
But I would say, as from what you're getting at, is the idea that if they manage something like this and the kind of feedback comes that the systems from Oblivion were made well, as you just said, go find the people that polished up that system, depending on what engine you're using. Make sure that 6 is better than what they already did here, because if they can take the old and make it this good, you better make 6 better.
And I'm glad you said that. That's what I'll jump in real quick and give it back to you, Maddie. That's what I got out of playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster. I'm like, man, if you have a glow up like this and with updated, evolved tools of the creation engine, this 6 is going to be something amazing. To me, that's what Oblivion, this gave me hope for. I'm like, I could see it now. I'm like, they're going to cook. Yeah. I could totally see it. Because I'm telling you, E, when you said what you said about the third person, I never really play Oblivion games like that. I'll be honest, it's always been trash. It's always been.
Okay, so here's a question for both of you. Whoever thinks he can answer it better, that's the question. You have an elevator ride with me from the top to the bottom of a skyscraper, so 60 seconds. I have never played Elder Scrolls. I did play. You guys kind of have an idea of my gaming history. Sell somebody who's never touched Elder Scrolls. What sets Elder Scrolls apart?
This is a Maddie question.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge fantasy fan. So I think for me, what sets Elder Scrolls apart is the world and how alive it feels. That kind of coalesces with the music to kind of give you this very cozy, homey feel that it is a world that always like is reacting to you. Like, you know, whether it's just like, I'm going to go up and talk to this random dude on the street to I killed a random civilian and I went to bed and woke up and some dude in a hood is talking to me about how I sleep soundly as a murderer. You know, that is the Elder Scrolls experience in like a nutshell. It lets you be all these different types of adventurers in one whole experience. Like you can join the Thieves Guild and just go on a thieving rampage. It's got really freeform mission design where like, it takes into account the civilian schedules. And it's like, oh, this person's in their chair from 8 to 3 a.m. You're going to want to untwist the decoration and have it drop on their head around that time because that's where we're going to be sitting. Otherwise, I guess you could kill them, but you might get caught. And then the characters will react based on like what you do in that mission. Like that's Elder Scrolls to me. It's not typical fantasy stuff. It's very deep political lore, but a lot of it's just about how great the world reacts to you. I imagine most Elder Scrolls fans don't even give a shit about the lore. Like that is my really hot take. I think most are there just for like the reactivity, the races, the different colors of life that just live within this universe. That would be my elevator pitch. Like it's just a really fun world to be in and to explore and to just learn stories about. And I'm not a fantasy head at all. Yeah. So.
And for the fantasy head, just to expound on what you said from Maddie to E, is if you liked any inkling of avowed exploration, like Elder Scrolls is on steroid to the umpteenth.
It's not even close, but no one's, in my opinion, reached Bethesda exploration. Yeah, still, like I don't think. There's games that have come, like Adamfall was like the closest I felt for a competitor to be like, oh shit, like I love the flow of this game. That is the closest I got. But Bethesda just in there, like I see that, I'm going there.
Yes.
It's any game they do really outside of Starfield.
Outside of that, fair enough. Because what it is it's like, wow, what is this cool, ruin that I'm seeing in the distance? What's that illuminated light in there? What's that mountain? Like, let me, and then you get lost just by traveling. 4 major events or things that you encounter lead to other things. And it's like, man, and some are really challenging and tough. And it's like your curiosity knows no bounds in this world. Like everywhere you go, there is some amazing thing, characters and stuff tied to it, or loot or discovery. And that's what it is. And then you put on the founding blocks of how you build craft. And okay, I'm going to be a mage, or I'm going to be, and it's the foundation of anything you do through repetition, you improve. And you go. So if you're a guy that's jumping around and doing that, your athletics will improve. You know what I'm saying? If you're a guy that's sneaking a lot around, your sneak skill will improve. You always combat. Anything you do, you could lean in, and the game rewards you for it. And that's
game that inspired KCD.
Yeah, KCD is clearly, every modern RPG is pretty inspired by this kind of baseline.
Yeah. It's just, it's got a really great world that's always reacting to you in gameplay. It's not reacting to you like Mass Effect, like you made a choice. I mean, they have quests like that, but it's really not like you made a choice and now the world is shifting dramatically. It's more like as you grow, like people recognize you with like different titles and that sort of thing. Like your progress is just always being marked in some way or another. It's really special. So for the Obsidian remaster, Jesus Christ, I had the same slip up as he did. Oblivion Remaster, visually, looks really good. I think they desaturated some areas, just like they turned the dial down just a little just a little bit too hard, because it's not like, because a lot of people are like, oh, the whole thing is, I'm like, no, it's not, because there's parts of the game that are very vibrant. It's like a deliberate choice. I just think those parts that they did tune down was a little too much. In particular, it's the area you step out into, which I don't know what really the idea behind that was. But overall visuals look really good. Character models really stand out to me. Character models like armor, weapons look really like they were remade, in my opinion. Like the ridges on the pauldrons, the hilt on a blade, the little cracks in the sword. I'm like, that's sick. I'm like, that's insane, bro. I was like, this looks really good. So when you talk to characters, the facial animations are, I'd say, like Starfield level now. Like they're pretty much there. And I think that's a significant upgrade for Oblivion compared to industry standards. It's not like all the way there, but given that it's really identifying as a remaster more than a remake, I think it's fair. Because at first when I was playing, I was like, dude, this is a remake. But as you get like deeper into the guts of the game, like the combat AI is still awful.
Yeah, still.
The dungeons,
I tested it.
The dungeons need redesigning, because sometimes you'll go like 4 rooms deep and you have to run all the way back. Mm-hmm. Expert mode difficulty is terrible. Those sorts of things. Like,
it's easy?
No, it's terrible. Like you go from like one-shotting everything on adept, which is like the standard difficulty, to going to the next difficulty, expert, where I went from one-shotting everything to taking 6 shots to kill someone.
Damn. And
they would like 3-shot you. I'm like, this isn't good. This is just, like you guys got to retune this thing. So there's little things that were from Oblivion that carry over here that are just like very old feeling. And that is to what Bethesda said. Like, it is the game that you remember. And so like you might go from dungeon A to dungeon C to dungeon F, and they all will be caves, and all those caves will have very familiar rooms in them. Like, that is where it does become more of a remaster than a remake. Right. But the combat upgrades, I mean, it puts it in line with Skyrim, and I think Skyrim is really fun to play. So it's right where I expected it to be. It's right where I want it to be, frankly. And I think it just slots in nicely. Whereas we were talking about at the top of the show, like Oblivion Remake, Remaster, Jesus Christ, this is going to be an impossible name to get right for me for weeks, I feel. Now it's really accessible to the Skyrim fans that have never played this before. And they get to experience a whole, I mean, I'm envious, bro. They get to experience a whole new special world like this for the first time ever. And the new VAs that they hired blend right in, sound really great. Just it's cool, dude. Like it's a really well done job. I spent $60 on it for the deluxe edition immediately. No regrets. It's like I almost have 20 hours in it now. I'm just like throwing, I've just been throwing so many hours into it because I'm just like, this is so good. Like, it just really is, man. I love the game so much, of course. So to have a prettier version of that plays a little bit better is significant, because I was playing it what was considered by many a state that they couldn't finish it in. So yeah, if I were to just give any thoughts on like what they should tune in a little bit more, performance.
What do we hear? How we hear? What's going on performance?
I mean, I've been doing my community sourcing, and I'm seeing mixed stuff. Like, some people are like, it's great, one of the best UE5 optimizations I've seen. Others are like, no, it's like, it's a little mixed. I'm seeing it as more like a 7 out of 10 kind of moment, where it's like some like it, some don't. On the optimization, my experience is that like I'll go to the open world and I'll have like a heavy stutter, and then it'll be fine. And then I'll explore a little bit deeper, and more of the map will load in and it'll stutter heavily. So I can't play it on ultra, but when I play it on high settings, it usually is pretty stable. I had one crash. My editor had 10.
Damn.
No exaggeration. He's got it all capped. So I was just like, all right, this is a little mixed for people depending on your rig. Locke turned off DLSS, put on FSR, and is getting like 120 FPS in ultra now. Okay. So it's still being figured out, but it's definitely not perfect on optimization. So I think they should tune that in a little bit more. Combat AI though is like bad at times. Like, bro, I'm like stealth archer, so I'll like shoot someone and their body will drop right in front of someone, and they'll just keep keep
on. I peeped that. I was like, the limited codes of vision. I was like,
I'm like, this isn't. They'll hear me. Like, if I'm wearing heavy armor, they'll hear me from the other room. They'll be like, who's there? I'm like, like, bro, what? So you can react to not your friend dropping in front of you, but you'll hear me and my little footsteps coming along. You're like, that is so true. I know that though. I know that sound. I know there's the footsteps of Kavachi.
I don't hear my friend screaming in the adjacent room that I just murdered. Yeah, but I hear you with your arm a block away.
Yeah, it breaks the simulation. So it does. I hope they tune that in. Those are the main two complaints I have. Things like expert mode. Like I think some people are like, oh, I can't play Oblivion on master mode. And I think they should tune it in, to be clear. I'm not trying to put like the defense force on for Bethesda. But I'm like, no one plays these games like this. You are in the like 4%, maybe. Like it should still be there for the 4%, but you are in the smallest demographic of people who actually play the game like this. And it is, to be also clear, it has always been like this. I've been complaining about it. I put a spotlight on with Fallout 4. I was like, they had a survival difficulty. And everyone was like, oh, Fallout 4 is going to have a survival mode. Nice. And you turn it on. This is before they added the actual survival mode, but they had one that was just like enemies were ridiculously spongy and you die in like one hit. It was awful. And so Bethesda's always had terrible difficulty scaling and level scaling. It's the same here. So I hope they tune that in a little bit. Yeah, I actually submitted some questions to Bethesda. I've yet to hear an answer. They said they're looking into it, but I asked them some questions about this. I was like, are you guys going to do post-launch support? Are you doing modding? What kind of fine-tuning are you doing to existing systems to adjust to fan feedback? Like, so they're swamped right now, but they said they will get back to me. So we'll see.
Quick question for you, because now that I feel real redeemed at the DLCs and everything, did you attempt to do any content yet? What's the because I haven't played enough yet, the onboarding to new content, for example, Shivering Isles? Or
it doesn't hit you with like a quest update when you first step out. Yeah, that's not there, which I didn't think of, but yeah, that's not there when you step out.
Because I didn't notice it either. So I was like, well, maybe there's a level cap or something, and then stuff opens up.
No, you can go. My friend went there at level 2. You can go straight there. Wow. Yeah, okay. But it is there, as you said.
Got it.
And as they said, yeah, it is there. But yeah, you can go at whatever level you want. And he was playing Shivering Isles at like level 2 and 3.
That's wild.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Fair enough.
I took my existing save when I played it last year, so my character was pretty buffed up. But
nice.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. It's been really great to be back, just exploring this world and just
Cyrodiil.
Oh man, is this an Xbox Play Anywhere game?
That's a good question. I didn't start my testing yet. I will be shocked if it's not.
Let me peep. I would real quick.
Shit, be shocked.
Let me peep.
This has to go on my ally, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah. This is. I'm thinking Backbone in bed right now.
Straight. Backbone all day. Facts. Because it's one of those I want to keep carrying with me for sure. And plus, there's a whole fresh new set of achievements now, right? So it's like, I'm pumped for that.
Oh, hold on. I see it here on the cloud gaming app.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's almost a standard for them, especially with first party releases and stuff like that. I would have been shocked if you would have said, "Hey, no Xbox Play Anywhere," or you're thinking about it.
They were a little slick when they launched this thing on Xbox, because I ended up buying it on Steam because at first I was going to download it through Game Pass, but it was at the $50 price point. It was like recently added to Game Pass, and I click on it, it's like $50. I'm like,
they updated.
Yeah, I was like, oh, slow rollout. We're figuring it out, guys. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I almost got caught out there with the deluxe edition upgrade because it was supposed to be only $10, and I saw that $50. Like, nah. I'll wait, and then a couple of hours the servers propagated, and then I saw it for $10 because I have Game Pass. I say, yeah, now I'll get it. But yeah, I was like, you're not catching me with your propagation servers on day one stuff.
All right, hold on. Let's search here. Oblivion. Obliv. Come on, dude. I can't type. I like fat fingers so much. Yep, here it is.
Nice.
Hold on.
Anywhere.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yep. So you can play this anywhere.
Perfect. Yeah, download that bad boy on the Ally Steam Deck. You get. I'll be an ally for me. You're good to go.
Yeah. So I guess now I can transfer my save. If it's like, you think it's like Indiana Jones, where I can like.
It'll be cross progression for sure. If it's Play Anywhere, you will continue with your Xbox Cloud save.
I didn't try it with Indiana Jones. How does that work? Is that like a? So pretty much, I just load it up and it's there. Like,
bro, you load it up, it's there. You just got to see the syncing cloud data.
Information on me. How did they do this?
Bro, sorcery, bro. Azure, baby. That's one thing I told you. To me, that's the future of gaming. Being able to play where I want to play, and my data is there without missing the bat of the platform.
Yeah, if I had damn, I don't have it down here. It won't let you fire it up. They're like, connect your controller, bro. I'm like, damn, bro. I was like, I want to check it right now and see if it's there, but I'll try.
I know, because you're gonna see the ball. You like, I did it. I remember when I did it with Starfield. I was like, yo,
like that's what I want to. I want to see it, bro. I want to see if it's there,
bro. When you see it for the first time, there's no going back. It's the most satisfying as a gamer and a person who's a completionist. And
they give me the queue. They're giving me the queue right now. They say I got a minute to get in there, bro. This shit's popping off on cloud.
You're good.
The game's getting ready. This is professional podcasting.
Professional podcasting. Yeah, we do it live. That's how we do it.
Hey, E, what are your thoughts on this? Everything that we've laid out here.
What about you?
I mean, besides being stupidly busy for everything that we're doing right now, I'm intrigued. It just sounds like a big time chunk right now, which is so hard to dabble into something like a Skyrim or an Oblivion, which is part of why I've missed some of these big games. Is like, I would love to wander around and do the kind of things. I mean, I ended up putting, let me look. What was it, about 60, 70 hours or something? I ended up putting
I was shocked that Avowed.
Or no, I might have been closer to 50, but it's still a chunk, 65. So, I mean, and this is bigger. So, I mean, if I want to wander around and check exploration and get a feel for the combat and then get lost in a Thieves Guild, as Maddie's talking about, somewhere and go do crazy stuff, it's just the time thing for me. Yeah, the idea sounds cool, very much. And the visuals and the new voice acting, the actual facial animations, the kind of just full UE5 makeover. It is like a remaster plus. Kind of what it feels like, because Remake is Final Fantasy VII. To remake that is a completely rebuilt different world and environment. This is like a remaster plus, though, because 20 years old to UE5 is no joke, plus the voice acting and redone animations. It's a lot. So I think, I think I did end up getting a code for it. So I've got the option 2. It just depends on where I can find time. But I'd love to give it a shot. And then, as you guys said, it's like, is that something I can eventually do? And then, Skyrim for the 18th release that they do or something like that. Because I do want to get a feel for the world before 6. It's kind of one of those that I want to get an idea of what am I getting into? Because, as these Bethesda games and Obsidian games, these RPGs are coming, kind of want to know what I'm getting into. So it's that kind of idea.
Matt, did you test yet?
Yeah, I'm trying to connect my controller here.
Oh, this is a backbone thing. Then.
But yeah, I'm trying to just do it with this. Yeah.
Oh, you're trying to sync the controller.
It's like put your controller into pairing mode. I'm like, I'm doing it. So the next part starts flashing your control ship here. Oh, your device's Bluetooth list. I'm just trying to listen to E more, and I was trying to read. Hang on. Gotcha. We're gonna test. We're testing Play Anywhere right now.
He doing his live in the flash with his backbone.
This is important. This is important.
This man is trying to get hours in.
This will be a huge game changer for me. Accessory.
All right.
Doing that. Pair the Xbox controller. This is. I've actually never done it like this before. Okay, it's paired. The controller is paired. All right. Dude, they're making me go through like the. This is actually crazy. I've never played with an Xbox screen this small. It's actually working though. I'm doing all the gameplay setup here. Okay, it's loading it. By the way, the new title menu.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
They killed it.
Clean.
All right, here we are.
Let's see. Do you see?
Let's see. I got to accept my EULA real quick. Hang on. They got to get all my data.
Yep. Got to get the EULA.
Yep. It's going to take like an hour to scroll down.
Don't you hate that when they just like,
I'm like, why? I was like, I get it. Like, obviously no one's going to read all of this, but like, for me to scroll through the entirety of this damn thing, like at this speed, I'm still going. It's almost done.
Yep. With no scroll to the bottom option.
Yep. All right. Load game.
All right.
Not here.
We have no data for you?
No, not here yet.
No cloudy cloud?
No, what's going on, man?
Oh, maybe. I wonder if it's a
fraud box.
Fraud. I wonder if it's not cloud Play Anywhere. And it's just, but that's weird. Your data should be there. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Switch your Mr. Batty profile.
Yeah.
Profile.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm playing the game. Xbox. That's the thing I was getting into before I tested all of that. Is when they were playing around with that whole like, it's $50. I was like, I'm going to Steam, and I literally just bought I bought it for $60 there. That was it.
Because whenever I do, I don't do the cloud portion, but I do the the Windows, the Xbox PC Game Pass app. And I've never had an experience where my data is not there. But
I'll try it with like actual install.
Yeah. What happens. In defense of you, though, I have not tested that permutation, which is the cloud streaming portion where your data is there. That portion I've not tested. But I've tested the physical hardware aspect of it. So if I'm on PC or I'm on an Ally.
Yeah, it says that you need to link your Steam account to your Microsoft account, which I don't think I've done yet.
Okay,
so that would explain that. Okay,
that would explain it. All right, no fraud bags. We make
no fraud box. Fraud box. I'm the fraud host.
You good, bro? You good?
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, That's what we've been playing this week. Time for a very quick, obvious, and easy Game Pass pick of the week. We'll start off with a write-in so that we can at least keep this somewhat unpredictable. Daniel Zarni writes in, "Good day, Duke boys. I just need to run a spotlight here on something from Game Pass that came out last week. Crime Scene Cleaner is truly a great game to play, minus a little glitchy here and there, but wow, I recommend you all give it a shot. And I know Oblivion's coming this week, it seems, as we are getting a reveal Tuesday, but keep this one in mind. Thanks all. Have a clean up after a bad mob boss party kind of day." You know how we love these simulator style games. So I will give that a peek, no doubt, since it's on Game Pass. But gentlemen, the selections here could not be more obvious to our audience if we did not drill into their heads more. It's Oblivion. It's Expedition. You have, in fact, it's also Blueprints.
Yes.
You really have a wealth of Game of the Year options,
bro.
Which is crazy, by the way. What a month for Game Pass. This reminds me of like August of 2023, where it's like, here's Lies of P, then like you get a little Starfield in there, and you're like, damn, bro, like some of the biggest games, just it's one of those magical months.
Sometimes the stars line up for Game Pass for sure.
This kind of also takes me back to MLB The Show, Outriders energy, but this is surpassed it, I feel.
Oh, completely.
These two. You got to live legit. I can't remember, Game of the Year contender in Game Pass with Expedition. That's different.
Yeah, like that'll be in the conversation all year.
Yeah. And I'll just, again, for a person that played it, I'm super hyped to hear you guys talk about it and the way you guys talked about it, because I remember seeing that game for the first time.
Oh, dude, what a whiplash.
I'm in the Xbox theater. I'm like, one, how did they get that game? Because that game, let's be real, E, that to me says PlayStation all over it. I'm gonna be honest. That's how I felt. I'm like, that's something I would watch at a state of play. And I go, so they dropped the bag. I get it. I ain't even mad. They have such a good eye for their audience. So I'm seeing this, and then I'm like, okay, they just got the marketing. But then when you throw the Game Pass part on it, I'm like, bro. And then when I learned about the team again, I'm thinking, oh, they got like 100 guys on there. No. 30 people. Then you interview them and they like, yo, we grew up on the Lost Odysseys, all the goats of JRPG. I'm like, you can say, we really like Japanese games. I'm like, this is a love letter. Like, how could you not root for these guys, right? It is so special to see what they're doing. And obviously now the Metacritic is coming out. People are clamoring. You gotta support. And I wanted, this is a co-MVP as far as I'm concerned. And then, for me with the Oblivion, which is, again, didn't realize what this would do. I'll be honest. I'm like, this might be a mistake. I was wrong. I was like, this is a mistake. Don't you shadow drop in one of your greatest games? Like, you just gonna do that? And in my defense, at least they did do an event. It's like, tune in to us talking about this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Don't just random. I thought it was just like,
it's gonna be like literally out now. Yeah,
I thought it was gonna be like an Xbox Wire type thing, and I'm like, not Oblivion. So I was like, oh no, we got the reverence. And when I knew it was gonna be special was when someone tweeted Wes Johnson the day before, was like, hey man, look man, you're the GOAT. We're just so worried. No one's talking about you. No one's saying that you're gonna be in it. And he's like, tune in tomorrow. And I was like, that's when I got hype. I was like, let's go. Because I would have felt the way if he wasn't a part of it. I'll be honest.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I'll let you blow. You have more hours in the game, but if you're a gamer and you're on Game Pass, you cannot go wrong. You literally have one of the OGs of gaming, and then you have the new Game of the Year contender. So I had to throw the little co-MVP on this one. I could not pick between the two.
You had to, because it is just what a week. You have a game here that really is like a cornerstone of the evolution of gaming culture. Like, it was right at the 360, pushing into the HD era, scope era. Like, this game was unlike anything when it came out. So it was big for that, but also for Elder Scrolls fans. Like, Morrowind was supposed to be it. And then here comes a game bigger than that keeps the ideas of Morrowind, but makes it more free and open and accessible so new fans could come in. It was like the perfect hybrid, still is the perfect hybrid. I think when more people play Morrowind, they'll see that. But yeah, just, when you have that and then you have like a new cornerstone and like turn-based, like when Expedition came out, just how it shakes things up so dramatically. An amazing week for Game Pass, amazing month. Because, I mean, what is truly buried in all of this is South of Midnight came out a few weeks ago. Yeah. And, just came and went, man. No wonder they had that huge 5 days of early access, because otherwise fighting for air in April.
Yeah, it's hard out here.
Very tough, but amazing month for Game Pass. Every week you've had something pretty good to play. Yeah. So those are our obvious picks. Maybe we'll switch it up a little bit next week. Who knows? No guarantees.
No guarantee.
All right. Time to start wrapping things up, gentlemen. It's been a monstrous show talking about all the games we've been playing, all that we've been loving. We'll have you sign off first. We usually pick a hashtag, but I want to make sure people know where they can find you if they enjoyed your lovely voice and all you offered to the show this week.
Oh, my voice. What a wonder. Everybody hates their own voice if you do enough voiceover, so it's a fair thing.
Same.
For me, it's a lot on YouTube for guides and news and reviews and previews and stuff. Did Destiny for, 6 years, but as we're many years beyond it and kind of on the downslope, I've done a lot more variety and had huge success with certain guides and stuff. You may have seen a Starfield guide here or there, Diablo or whatever it may be. But yeah, YouTube, it's Ebontis, Ebontis. If you find the cheetah, it's definitely me, whether it's Twitter or Blue Sky. I stream on Twitch. Twitch is typically more like variety streaming, where I'll do like blueprints or something like that. And then just any way you want to just say hello, even if it's just dropping a hey in the comments on a video. I read most of my comments because thankfully you guys are pretty decent about it. And I thank you. So
I love that. It's the man right there. Right, so dope. When Maddie pulled this, I was like, what a dope surprise. They didn't tell me, y'all. Just so y'all know, I had no idea.
Yeah.
He just shows up. So I got two of my co-hosts, man. Again, at Last Word Pod, this guy's awesome, man. It's good to have have his thoughts and him branching out to other games and being a great variety content and also a good streamer. And all those challenging games. This boy, he gets busy, man. He gets super busy. So salute to him.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us this week. And I think we got to give him the hashtag, right? Hashtag ObontisDD, right? We got to
ObontisDD for sure.
Got to put it on our lovely co-host shoulders here. So ladies and gentlemen, got this deep into the episode, use the hashtag EbontisDD. You can tag us on Twitter. I'm at G7Status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Ebontis is, you guessed it, at Ebontis. You can tag him as well. You can also throw all of that down in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts with the episode now concluded. Until next week, though, y'all, we'll be back to talk maybe news. I don't know.
Maybe.
And a lot of games lately.
All this game stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy. But nonetheless, we hope you take great care of yourselves. Have a fun time playing whatever you're playing. And we'll catch you for episode 226. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.